911 location of your emergency.
Breaking news out of North Idaho. Moscow police are investigating a homicide on King Road.
Is she breathing?
No.
So 5'10", all black. Could you see what color his eyebrows were or anything like that?
No. I don't remember what his eyes look like either.
Officers discovered the bodies of Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, but no weapon has been located at this time.
Arrested. That's 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger in custody today.
Kohberger allegedly stalked one of the victims. That's false.
We do not have evidence that the defendant had direct contact with 1122 or with residents of 1122, but we can put his phone in that area. There are many residences in that area. It's a dense population of mostly college-related occupants.
Hey guys, sorry, I had to make sure I had my coffee. So I had to go into the kitchen real quick. How's everyone doing? I am glad that it is finally Friday. It has been a very busy week. Not a bad week, but a busy week. Trying to make sure everything is, well, I'm gonna need these headphones. Now see how my makeup makes me look like even whiter than before because I'm still sort of burned. I'm about to get a makeup wipe and wipe this off. Honestly, give me a second. Okay, I will wipe it off while I talk to you guys. This, yeah, I'm still like burnt. So my normal makeup is still too white. That's actually so funny. I have no issue just wiping this shit all the way off. I know I look like I don't even go out, but when my dad's here, I go fishing. And then when I go fishing with my dad, I get burned because I always forget to bring sunscreen. I don't know why. I don't know why I do that to myself because it's not like I'm stupid. I grew up on the water. I grew up outdoors. I look like a city punk. I know. I'm aware of what I portray. I'm aware of the vibe I give off. But I grew up with deer being gutted outside of my back door, and playing underneath the garage with ant bugs, growing gardens. I grew up a country kid. So I always just forget that I need sunscreen because now I'm like inside all the time. And then I get burned. And then I get burned. See, look, see? Now I match. Just wasted my makeup. It's okay. A couple more days. I'll be back to being bright. I'll be back to being bright in a few days. It'll be okay. Oh, thanks for the gifted memberships, Bronx Tales. Hey, girl, how you doing? Get my face all dried up. Eek. Okay. Thank you so much for that. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, I ended up getting like a spray and then like an aloe thing, but then like I just forget how bad the sun is. I just forget how bad the sun is. It's okay. Yeah, we actually got to keep 2. We caught so many that fish. What did I tell you guys that one time we caught like 12 fish that day, but we couldn't keep anything because they were little bitty babies and like 2 and 3 inches underneath regulation. And I'm just like, because they were fat. So they would have been perfect. But we had to follow the rules, so we put them back, even though they were only like an inch too short. Because with our luck, that would be like the one time me and Dad actually dealt with the game warden. So we just don't bother. It's just not worth it. Because that's the feds, you know. That's not like getting a little speeding ticket. You get you get messed up by the game warden. You getting messed up by the game warden. It's crazy stuff. That is crazy stuff. Whew. Okay. I've been working on trying to get some of the stuff for the other 2 channels together that I told you I was working on. I got the 12 hours of the 11/12 camera all together. You know what's crackhead? like legitimately crackhead. This computer that I'm using right now is a desktop gaming system, and it's got like all kinds of techie things in it, right? I have tried to get the 12 hours of the King Road footage put together in one thing before, and it constantly made the thing that my editor crash. I'm using the same editor on my laptop, and I have had no problems. I think it's time I need to replace this damn thing, because obviously it is just not up to par. So I'm taking some of my older videos and I'm going to be placing them on the Julez True Crime Clips channel and asking you guys to debunk them in the comments, because it's all of the original stuff, all the stuff that's no longer accurate, all the stuff that we were lied to about, but we were doing updates in real time as the information was coming out. So I think that's what I really want you guys to do, so that I know that like people are taking in information. I'm going to post like maybe one a week on that other channel, and just, it's literally like my instruction is debunk this video in the comments. Like, I want you guys to tell me everything that was wrong that we were talking about, because they were giving us incorrect information. And my first ever video in this case was on 11/22/22. And I went through it today, and God damn. Not only is my double chin not there, but you know what? Let me tell you something too. Like, I know that I need to like lose some weight back again, but when I look at myself in my older videos, I feel like I feel like Olivia, you know? And I've never done anything hard ever. I've never done anything ever. So it's like the stress and not eating and everything I was dealing with. But I need to find an in-between, I guess. Because I'm like, damn, like I was kind of cute, but like, damn, I look unhealthy. Like, I don't know. So just expect that you're probably, if you've been here for like the past like year, you've seen me chunkier than I was when I first started. So don't be shocked if you see a skinnier face and like just a skinnier face in these videos. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Oh, thank you for the gifted memberships, Miller Time. I always want to call you by your real name because you've emailed me and I know your real name, but I always catch myself. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships, Miller Time. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to watch this video. Now, I don't know if CrimeCon, this is a test for me, because I don't know if they have some sort of regulation to where their stuff can't be on YouTube the way that like Dateline and them do. But I did to this what I do to everything. There's a filter on it. It's been like flipped over. No, I didn't flip it. This one I did not flip, because they have a lot of stuff that they pop up on the screen, almost like PowerPoint presentation type, like since it's on their headquarters website. It's not on their YouTube. It's on their headquarters website. So because they do these edits to it, I didn't flip it, but there's edits to it. You can see like nothing was taken out, but it's just like visual edits. Plus we're going to be stopping it a lot. So it's for commentary purposes, which is obviously because how am I ever not going to run my mouth about something that Goncalveses are doing when they're lying the entire time, you know? Like, obviously, we're going to stop and talk shit. So they shouldn't have anything happen. But we'll see. Because I've never tried to do a review of a CrimeCon thing that's, like, from their official stuff. And I don't know how they're going to behave. So, this is from this year. I need to fix this where it says for... Hold on. My big thing is that they are sitting there lying about stuff for like more sympathy. Like I've already mentioned the thing that they said about like not wanting Kaylee's phone to be actually like gotten into by the cops, because we're in 2026 and a year after the plea, they still haven't gotten into Kaylee's phone and they won't give it back to them either. And she sits there and she tells people, oh yeah, once they get Kaylee's phone open, all they have to do is FOIA it, and every single text message and every single picture and every single phone call is going to be available to the public. No, the frick it's not. No, the frick it's not. Why are you lying? They know that there's privacy rules. We will literally get denied unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. They've done it for Dylan's timestamps. They've done it for all kinds of shit. So the reason why she sits there and she's acting, they're faking it. They're lying about the reason why they want Kaylee's phone back. There's a reason why this family is so shady, okay? They have come out and said that they have all these shared passwords and family passwords and all this other bullshit. But Kaylee's phone is the one phone they can't get into, meaning there's some sort of face lock or fingerprint ID or passcode. Like they have, well, I can't say they have her face, but they could easily like use a picture of her and try to get past the facial recognition thing. They have her hands. They could have used her fingerprints if that's what it was. They can't get into the password. Is it because the Goncalveses did something to it because they knew her password and they locked the shit out of her phone? Remember, Steve's an IT guy. So if all of these agencies that have touched this phone are having issues getting into this phone, is it because Mr. IT guy did something to it? Why do they want the phone back so bad? If Kaylee's phone is Kristi's phone, why do you need this phone back so bad? That's one of the first things that Kristi told us, is that they basically had cloned her phone. I had first learned about phone cloning in the Dylan Rounds case because that's how they were able to find out exactly who Dylan had been talking to. They cloned his phone information. The LinkedIn issue, a lot of people think that it was them that did all that shit with LinkedIn because it happened the night of. They just suddenly can't get into Kaylee's phone. Bullshit. The only reason why people lie about stuff is because they have something to protect and something to hide. For Kristi and Steve to both get up there and act like if the cops are able to get into Kaylee's phone, that suddenly the entire world is going to have her every little text message and every little thing that she's ever talked about ever, which is bullshit. Why are you lying about something that you are very aware of? You can't tell me these people that are passing laws in Idaho don't know laws in Idaho. They're aware that stuff is going to be getting denied for privacy. I'm so sick of it. It's so stupid. It makes no sense why they're constantly lying about stuff. They need to just stop. Like, what is the actual point? What is the actual point? Now, the audio for this was kind of crap. So I've gone in and I have like 3 times put it through my editor and done that like 100 to 200 volume thing. So hopefully it's okay. Like it sounds okay when I'm listening to it this way. But it took like 2 more times than I normally would for me to feel like the volume was all right. So it might not be totally okay. Now this chick on this side, she's, I guess, somebody who's running the CrimeCon stuff. I don't know who she is. She's going to say her name. She says just the most crazy shit. And it's like within the first 30 seconds, like something that she says to the audience about how like them just being there makes them these like real, I don't know. You'll see how she says stuff. This guy right here is from, I think, Crime Stoppers in Houston or some shit like that. And he's just like an aggressive weirdo. Like every single time he's asked a question by the panel lady, the end of his answer is like, come for me, come say something to me, like some crackhead shit. And I'm just like, calm down, old man. You're gonna have a whole freaking like stroke on that damn panel. He is literally just like, he's quackadoodle, bro. He's so ridiculous. He is so ridiculous. Oh my God, he's so ridiculous. Okay, so now I thought that it had noticed that I was recording because there's parts where this does, let me show you where, let me see, is it going to do it? Let's see, right here. Where it does this for like quite a bit of like the talking. And I thought that it was some sort of like security measure because maybe it knew that I was recording. But it stops and it just like does it every now and then. I guess it's just like the way that they did it. And I really thought that I was going to have like an issue going back and forth. And I tried like 4 different times to get it recorded before I realized that it wasn't like a security thing. It was literally just how it actually works. Oh, hey, Sharon. Thank you for the gifted membership. I got your PayPal, by the way. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Hey, Death Child. Thank you for the gifted membership. I love that little kitty cat. I love that little black kitty cat. So cute. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and get this started. Be prepared. Be prepared. It's not even a joke. Be prepared. Because even after all this evidence has come out, okay, this was just like, what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, tops. The day that we went live to go over where he spilled the beans about the Alford plea and all that other crazy shit he said, that day was this. And I understand, like, wanting to have your story heard. That's fine. I wouldn't care if they were out here talking their faces off every day, all over the place. It's the fact that they are constantly lying. We wouldn't even be watching this like this. We would discuss it. Hey, did you guys watch this? Da, 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 whatever. Like, notice when it comes to, like, the other families, they're not out here lying their faces off, so we don't go after every little thing that they do. But when they're on a panel in front of a bunch of crime people, and they have talked nothing but shit about people like us, you're even going to hear him, like, say some stuff and then, like, try to backtrack because he realizes, oh, shit, I need to remember where I am when I'm talking shit about these true crime people. The whole thing is, at this point, tells me their intentions, because it's the same script. Even after all this new information has come out, nothing has changed. Except for the fact that suddenly he wants everything sealed and tightened up, when for years he was out here demanding transparency and for information to come out to the public. Now he wants it zip, zip. All of a sudden. It's a lot. It's a super lot. Okay, you guys ready? Let's start listening.
CrimeCon, you've made it to the end. This is the last session. Woo! And we are so grateful you are here. I genuinely believe, I have to say this, but I do genuinely believe it. This is the most important session that you could join us for at CrimeCon. We're going to talk about ethics, but we're going to try to make ethics interesting. And we're going to talk about some of the newest.
The Goncalveses. The Goncalveses are the people that you choose to have on your panel when it comes to talking about ethics. The definition of ethics: moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. You have the biggest liars that have entered the true crime realm over the last 4 years on your panel discussing ethics. Like, I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Newest trends in true crime. So you guys know this, true crime is a very powerful force in our culture. It informs, it engages, and it helps bring attention to cases that really need it. But it's also bringing up some really difficult questions, and it's about ethics, our responsibility, and the stories and the people behind the cases that we're watching. So the way that we all engage with true crime has very real consequences. And you all have such power to change it. And we want you to hear this today as the loudest message. You can help drive true crime. And I've got great news for everybody in this room. Because you're here, because you showed up for this session, you are 98, maybe 99% of the way there to being an amazing true crime consumer.
So because you traveled all the way to Vegas, and because you spent hundreds of dollars to be here, and you stayed the entire time, and you gave us all of your money, you're the best, bro. That's what I got. You're only a true crime consumer if you show up, spend your money, and listen to everything that we say, and don't ask questions. That's what that was.
Everybody in this room. Because you're here, because you showed up for this session, you
That
are
part.
98, maybe 99%
Consumer. What a crazy ass freaking word, bro.
of the way there to being an amazing true crime consumer. So
Do you see why I say CrimeCon is a freaking joke? CrimeCon has been a joke, bro. Oh my God.
I'm incredibly honored to be joined by these three individuals who are going to walk us through some of the things that have happened to them and some of the things they see. But before we get started with all that, I just want you all to introduce yourselves briefly. We'll start with Steve.
Steve Goncalves. Kaylee Jade was my daughter, and Maddie May was a girl that lived with us that became like our daughter as well.
A girl that lived with us? A girl that lived with us. When did Maddie ever live with them?
Steve Goncalves. Kaylee Jade was my daughter, and Maddie May was a girl that lived with us that became like our daughter as well.
Lived with them.
Kristi Goncalves, Kaylee's mother, and Maddie was like a daughter to us as well. She was Kaylee's best.
I've done public speaking twice in front of fundraisers, like rich ass fundraising people. Me and the kids stayed at a place called Arms of Hope when they were really little. And there were these giant fundraising galas in front of multimillionaire Texans and all of these Christian organizations and all of these big old people. And they would have these galas at the Hiltons in these big cities every year. And for two of them, I was one of the keynote speakers, the mom speaker, because we would have one from the mom side, one from the foster kid side. There'd be different people that would come in and speak. And for 2 years, I was the speaker. I know what it's like to be in front of an audience, a hoity-toity one, with all eyes on you. I know what it's like. There was no alcohol at those, though. So to slip up is not an option at those kinds of things. So, like, I get it. But when you know that you're going to be in front of an audience like this and you're going to be talking about your murdered child, you probably should make sure that you're sober. You know, that's probably like something you should make sure for real, though.
Like our daughter as well.
Kristi Goncalves, Kaylee's mother, and Maddie was like a daughter to us as well. She was Kaylee's best friend since they were little girls.
I'm Andy Kahn, Director of Victim Services, Victim Advocacy, Crime Stoppers of Houston. I'm a board member of Parents of Murdered Children and Surviving Family Members of Homicide and Texas EquiSearch. I've been a victim advocate for over 30 years in the mayor's office, Houston Police Department, and now, thankfully, Crime Stoppers.
Thank you all. So I want to start with what I hope is a simple question for Steve and Kristi. You've done lots of media interviews. You've had lots of attention focused on you. But what is one thing that nobody ever asks you that you wish they would? And what do you want everybody in this room to know before they walk away from CrimeCon this year?
When you go through something like this, it impacts you in so many different ways that you see the person who does this and they have all these rights and you don't have really any rights and your child was murdered. So looking back, I wish we would have had more questions on how we could improve the system.
Now, remember, I have a filter on this so that it is edited and made my own so that I follow YouTube guidelines. So just remember when you're looking at them that there is a filter on the camera, like on the filter on the screen.
Give more rights to victims' families, and that's kind of what my daughter and we've worked on, was like restoring respect to victims. We all know if somebody called 911 on us, we had a neighbor we didn't like, and somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on us, we wouldn't want somebody just barging into our home and filming us. And that.
See, right here, he just says some really crackadoodle stuff. Like, listen to this and tell me if any of this that he just says make any sense at all.
To victims' families, and that's kind of what my daughter and we've worked on, was like restoring respect to victims. We all know if somebody called 911 on us, we had a neighbor we didn't like, and somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on us, we wouldn't want somebody just barging into our home and filming us. And
okay, so he just said we had a neighbor that didn't like us, somebody called 911 on us, and there was a FOIA Freedom of Information Act request and someone just barged into our house because they didn't like us. What? Is that even a story? What are you talking about? One more time.
Rights to victims' families, and that's kind of what my daughter and we've worked on, was like restoring respect to victims. We all know if somebody called 911 on us, we had a neighbor we didn't like, and somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on us, we wouldn't want somebody just barging into our home and filming us. And that's kind of what it's like when you go through a case like.
We wouldn't want someone barging in. What? You see how he is like losing his shit? What are you talking about? What are you talking? He's making up a scenario. He's like, if somebody didn't like us, if our neighbor didn't like us and we called 911, blah, blah, blah. Nobody is going to. What about a Freedom of Information Act makes you believe that someone can just barge into your house? Like, I'm very confused.
Back, I wish we would have had more questions on how we could improve the system, how we could give more rights to victims' families. And that's kind of what my daughter and we've worked on, was like restoring respect to victims. We all know if somebody called 911 on us, we had a neighbor we didn't like, and somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on us, we wouldn't want somebody just barging into our home and filming us. And that's kind of what it's like when you go through a case like this. They just take your daughter and her precious moments, and then they spew it across like
Y'all spewed y'all's precious moments all over the internet. Y'all took a page that was supposed to be meant for trying to find truth and putting a reward out and getting information and turned it into a freaking fan page that you can pay a subscription to. Y'all literally post pictures of your half-naked children all over the internet almost daily. Sir, you do that. We're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So yeah, we're going to talk about Kaylee and Jack's non-existent relationship that y'all seem to constantly have some sort of weird, sick fantasy about that you constantly have to keep pretending existed when it didn't. But when it comes to y'all's little precious moments, y'all are doing that. If that helps, I hope it does. You're taking your old pictures and your old videos and you're sharing your memories on your fan page. Interesting. Okay.
We all know if somebody called 911 on us, we had a neighbor we didn't like, and somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on us, we wouldn't want somebody just barging into our home and filming us. And that's kind of what it's like when you go through a case like this. They just take your daughter and her precious moments, and then they spew it across like it's like a horror movie. So it's hard, and I understand.
See, again, he always has to bring up the movie thing. Y'all saw how I put in the beginning of that clip from a couple days ago. They said the same shit a year in, few weeks in. Being a movie, being in a character. This isn't Hollywood. This is the same shit they've been saying for almost 4 years.
A judge needs to see that. A jury needs to see that. But sometimes I think a family and the victim should have respect and try to keep that as much. And I wish we would have found more time to speak about that.
You could have. Instead, you chose to come out here and panel hop with a bunch of lies while claiming that the state wasn't speaking to you. And then when people start calling you out on your lies, you say it's the state's fault, even though they weren't speaking to you. And I've been going back into like older stuff and getting a bunch of stuff recorded from a long time ago that's still out there. And from like 2 weeks in, he's like, no, they won't tell us anything. They won't talk to us. And that ex-Navy SEAL guy or whatever that came out and said that Steve was like suspicious or some shit. I found another clip where he's like, I understand why they won't talk to him. The dad never shuts up. Yeah. Steve dug his own hole here.
I think a family and the victim should have respect and try to keep that as much. And I wish we would have found more time to speak about that.
You had time. You chose not to do that. You didn't utilize your time the way that you should have, Steve-O.
It's a hard question because I feel like we've been asked everything. But
you won't say the truth.
I think more along the lines of, what it's really like to be in these shoes. We get so many people reread things saying, that if I were them, I wouldn't have done that. Or if I were them, I would be doing this. If I got a call from my niece saying my daughter had been shot at a party, I'd have gotten my ass out of my living room and drove down to the house. Tell me a parent, find a single damn parent out there and ask them that question and see what they say. If you were sitting on your ass in your living room on a Sunday watching freaking football, doing literally nothing else, and your blood relative called you, freaking out, crying, telling you that your daughter had just been shot at a party, would you not have instantly jumped in the car and raced to her location as fast as humanly possible? Because I bet you anything, there's not a single damn parent out there that's going to say, no, I'd have sat there and waited for the cops to tell me something. No, not a single parent's going to answer that way. Not a single one. The fact that they think that we just forget all of that. I'm trying to fix this stupid thing. My desk got all stupid. The fact that they think that we just forgot. That they just sat their asses there with all those other adults and these older kids in the house. Even getting calls, they're teenagers getting phone calls from strangers on FaceTime. Did they leave? No. They sat there. They sat there. So yeah, I will say, What you did by not moving is wrong, and I will judge you for that for the rest of this timeline. There is nothing you can say, Kristi. There is nothing you can say, Steve, that is going to make me change my mind by judging you in that area. You've got to be out of your ever-loving ass mind to think that that kind of inaction is a normal response. It's not. It's far from it.
If I was that father, I would, he would no longer be alive because I would have attacked him in the courtroom.
And see, I've never seen anybody say that. I've never seen anyone say, oh, why didn't Steve just jump over the desk and beat the shit out of him? No one said that. You see how she's making shit up? See how she's making shit up? Find me somewhere. Find me a post where someone literally said Steve was some sort of coward for not reaching over and killing Kohberger in the courtroom. Find me that post. I can bet you it does not exist. The lies this woman tells.
Until you're in these shoes, you're not. So, you know, just to really relate to, it's just hard to actually really relate to somebody that's in these shoes.
It's not hard at all.
Wear these shoes.
No, because we know how we would behave, because what y'all be doing is don't make no sense. And I've already worn enough shoes that I don't need to wear your shoes to know that your shoes are full of lies and probably don't fit. Like the fact that this is so exaggerated all these years later, this is just practically, they've done this for so long. I think that at this point it's natural. It's just natural for them. Some people can tell, like pathological liars literally will tell lies so much and repetitive that in their minds, it starts to build it up as truth. And I really just believe that that's probably where these people are. I think that's where they are.
So, it's just been tremendously hard having your life flipped upside down, and then everything about your whole entire life, including your other children, things that don't even matter, are under a microscope for the whole world.
I think the fact that you threw away the first child that Steve had, and then you wanted to bring in one that you had no business adopting, even though you didn't adopt her, you pretend like you did, and then you want to sit here and act like you're this perfect ass family, I think that deserves to be ripped apart. Especially when, if you go back to especially the old interviews, it's disgusting. The kind of lessons that Steve wanted to sit there and pretend like he teaches his children. Sir. Every time they mention a story about something that Kaylee tells them, listen to how Kristi reacts as she tells the story about how she basically just blew it off. Practically everything that she says when it comes to something Kaylee did or said to her, Kristi's response, and she laughs about it, but she literally blows it all off. Nothing that Kaylee said was important to them. And that's very clear in the way that she responds herself. But don't talk about Jack Decor. She'll lose her shit.
To see, and including, you know, your daughter that's no longer with you, that was brutally murdered, and you have no say. Nothing's sacred at all. Mm-hmm. So it would be nice if there was more permissions, like things were asked. Can they write a movie? Can they write a book? Can they post these pictures? And it's all a free-for-all. Like he said, like you could do a Freedom of Information Act. Anybody can do one. And
you're welcome.
It's just very personal and private. And it's just not easy. It's very, very hard.
See, that's another thing that pisses me off about these morons. They have sat there.
It was cold.
And even after the fact, after the plea and after they got information from, you know, the state, and they've complained and complained and complained and complained that they never got any information, that they were promised all of the evidence and they were supposed to have everything. They never got it. All they do is say how they lied to them. So then we, as people out here that are curious about the truth because there's no answers to anything, are out here FOIA-ing information and as a community paying the police for these damn details. And every single time we FOIA something and get it, it gets sent to the family. So you're welcome, Steve and Kristi, for presenting to you everything that the state failed to. Sorry that it takes you, sorry that it makes you so upset that there's people out here that actually give a shit, that are literally doing everything for this case that you complained about not happening, to the point to where you're actually getting physical evidence handed to you that the state lied to you about producing. But we are the bad guys for reading documents. Tell me they're not hiding something. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Come on. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
You and I were talking when we were getting our makeup done, and it struck me that even as a victim advocate, it's impossible for me to be able to empathize with you because I have no actual way to understand what you have both been through. And I think it's important for everybody in this room to hear that. You can have all the sympathy in the world, you can be as kind as you want, but you don't have the ability until you've been in your situation.
Here's one.
See, that's so ridiculous too. It's like they're basically like talking down to the people that are there, telling them that, you know, you can try to care all you want to, but it honestly doesn't matter because you've never been in their shoes. Spend all your money here. You're a great true crime consumer, but you'll just never understand. I don't like this chick. I really don't. She's stupid. She needs to shut up.
Victim advocate, it's impossible for me to be able to empathize with you because I have no actual way to understand what you have both been through. And I think it's important for everybody in this room to hear that. You can have all the sympathy in the world, you can be as kind as you want, but you don't have the ability until
you don't have the ability.
Here's
Shut
one that's
up.
going on right now.
Here it is.
We never got into Kaylee's phone. They're trying to hack into it right now. We told them,
Talk about
we're done. Because if you do, then they'll do a
Here's
Freedom
the
of
lie.
Information Act, and then they'll be able to just spew that all across. How many people have phones today that you'd want a Freedom of Information Act? And
I'm gonna let this
everything
whole
would just
thing
be
play.
spewed as if it's part of the
Every
case.
single text message
They're
that
so
you have,
stupid.
every single photo, every single video.
It's ridiculous.
They still haven't gotten to her phone, and the case is over. We want her phone back, and they won't give us back Kaylee's phone.
I wonder why.
So
you see how they just lied? They just lied to that entire audience about the phone situation. Tell me they don't know the rules. They know the rules. They know damn well that it will be denied for invasion of personal privacy, unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. They wouldn't give us Dylan's timestamps. They wouldn't even give us the contact timestamp information with the other information redacted. I don't understand why they keep lying. That whole spiel was nothing but a freaking lie. And they know the rules. They're doing that so that people feel bad for them. They're doing that so people keep giving them money and donating and going to their page and paying attention to what they're doing for attention. Freaking liars.
yeah, it's on a brute force system to where it could take 18 years. It could be.
That's already
tomorrow.
happening. That's what's been happening for the past 3 months now. When used to before, the lawyer, Mia Batista, was the last stop before I would be getting a phone call or getting an email saying, hey, your FOIA is ready. And then I need to pay the rest of the money. Now I pay the rest of the money. And then after it gets officially released, after I pay it, another attorney for the families has to review the information. That was said to me by Amber. Now, I don't know if it's for every little bitty document or if it's just for interviews, shit like that. But that's been the process. And there's no way that that's part of the actual FOIA process. Unless it's just open to where these states and these police departments can just do whatever the frick they want to. I don't see how they're she didn't even have an answer for me. I even asked her, I said, okay, so if we pay for this entire FOIA and then all of a sudden the family lawyer is like, no, we don't want this out. Can y'all deny me then the FOIA and have to refund me the money? And they had no protocol for that. She just knew that that's what they were doing. But they clutch their pearls when I call them disorganized and dysfunctional. What?
But as soon as it does, somebody will request the information that's on it because it will be available. And anybody at all that files a Freedom of Information Act can get it. And share it on their podcast, share it on the news.
I'm a junior. Somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on what they thought was me, and they found my dad dying. You know, they called 911. He died two months before this happened to us. So And
They
it's
share
not
that.
this room. These people here.
So everyone knows you're a junior, okay, for one. I don't understand what he just said. So is he saying that somebody filed a Freedom of Information Act on his dad's information instead of his? We all knew that Steve's dad died in like July. We knew that. I think like July 9th or June 9th. So it's somewhere around there that his father died. There's an obituary where they're all listed. So I don't really quite understand what he's saying here. Somebody filed and got the wrong information, but what did that do for you? I mean, obituaries are public. There's a lot of public information when it comes to Steve's dad, because Steve's dad and his wife also had to file a protective order against Steve's brother, the one that's in jail for murder. Like, there's quite a few files with his dad's name on it. I'm not really quite sure what he's getting at here, besides like someone just filed the wrong thing, but that's like not a big deal that people know that your dad died. Like, I don't understand what he's saying.
Give us back Kaylee's phone. So, yeah, it's on a brute force system to where it could take 18 years. It could be open tomorrow. But as soon as it does, somebody will request the information that's
She's
on
so
it
stupid.
because it will be available. And anybody at all that files a Freedom of Information Act can get it.
She's lying.
And share it on their podcast, share it on the news.
I'm a junior. Somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on what they thought was me, and they found my dad dying. You know, they called 911. He died two months before this happened to us. So, and
They
it's
shared
not this
that.
room. These people here are beautiful. We're not saying this to anybody here.
See right here? He's sitting here saying that like all these complaints that he's talking about these people digging into their lives. Oh, but not the people in this room. How do you know who's in that room, Steve? You could be literally sitting in the same room as somebody that's been the same person that sent you death threats at the sentencing could be sitting in that room, Steve. How do you know? See how he's just like saying stuff to say stuff? They get on my ever-loving nerves, bro, for real.
I'm a junior. Somebody did a Freedom of Information Act on what they thought was me, and they found my dad dying. You know, they called 911. He died two months before this happened to us. So, and
They
it's
shared
not
that.
this room. These people here are beautiful. We're not saying this to anybody here.
See what I mean?
I've been met with some of the most beautiful and positive energy that we've had from you guys, and thank you guys all for that. I'm just talking about from the media's perspective. There is a dark fascist, but it's not here.
You don't know who is in that room, Steve. I could never be this person. I really just could never be this person. I don't care. I could never be this person.
Andy, I'm glad you said that. These are amazing people in this room. And so we really want to empower them. So
See this?
Andy, I'm going to pull you into the conversation.
See, I'm so glad that you changed direction with your statement before you offended everyone who gives us all their money. We really want to empower them to keep coming back and giving us all their money. Pay attention, guys. This CrimeCon place is a freaking joke.
Positive energy that we've had from you guys, and thank you guys all for that. I'm just talking about from the media's perspective. There is a dark fascist, but it's not here.
Andy, I'm glad you said that. These are amazing people in this room. And so we really want to empower them. So Andy, I'm going to pull you into the conversation.
Hold on. This chair is so damn comfortable.
You just taking a snooze on it?
Any mind if I take this pillow with me? Call Crime Stoppers. Give you a $5,000 reward.
Andy's going to take a nap. You ready to talk ethics?
Yeah.
All right.
While you
Better
allowed them to
folks
lie
who
on
wanna do the right thing.
stage.
So what is one thing that you, after 30 years working in this space and really watching true crime become the genre that it is now, what do you want everyone in this room to think about before they hit play, before they hit post, before they hit share, before they listen?
You know, I've been doing media for over 30 years, and I'd say for the last 5 years, I've done more true crime than I've done in 25 some odd years. It's absolutely exploding. What I tell victims' families like Steve and Kristi is you can't stop what's happening right now, but we're going to make damn sure that you have a seat at the table. And we want a semblance of fairness and balance. And we want to be treated with dignity and respect.
Don't be liars.
A lot of you probably remember the series on Dahmer that was held. Top-rated show. None of the families were even told. That was coming out. That's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen under my watch right there. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Who are you, sir? See what I mean? And listen, every segment where he gets on, it's this. It's, you're not going to do it under my watch. Oh, come and tell me something. It's that kind of shit. Dude is annoying. Dude is annoying. That part.
And the whole issue of, look, here's the
Not
reality.
given, that's for sure.
Crime victims are the
He's
only
ridiculous.
unwilling participants in the criminal justice system. Everyone else chose their role. Law enforcement, judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, victim advocates, but no one like Kristi and Steve said, pick me, I want to be a victim of a crime.
They might have not said, pick me, I want to be the victim of a crime. But if you take away that last sentence, they definitely were out there saying, pick me, bro. The fact that these people are so oblivious to who they're actually dealing with is so crazy. So freaking crazy. Oh my God.
So it's the least you can do in the justice system is to be looking out for their rights, their due process, and their well-being. And that
the least they could do is not be liars. And the least you could do for the sanctity of justice is not associate with people that have proven to be liars, who are out here giving false information and who are out here being straight up not true, not honest about who they actually are. I bet you this guy has no idea about Samantha. I bet you this guy has no idea all of the lies that these people have come out and started and all of the bullshit that they actually have been involved in over the past 3 years. I bet you he has no clue. None.
I want to be a victim of a crime. So it's the least you can do in the justice system is to be looking out for their rights, their due process, and their well-being. And that's going to start today.
That's going to start right now. While you sit next to the biggest liars that have ever graced that freaking panel. Thank you so much for the gifted membership, Death Child. I appreciate that. Thank you. Congratulations to who got those, and congratulations to the rest of our new members as well. Thank you so much for that.
Well, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of that positioning and what it's like to be in that situation. Steve and Kristi, I don't think we've seen in a very long time, at least, more misinformation, more bullshit theories. Am I allowed to swear to CrimeCon stage? I'm so sorry.
Oh my God. Can I say the word shit in front of a bunch of adults? Oh my God. You're sitting next to the misinformation, ma'am. From Bryan touching the Wi-Fi to Kaylee moving out the house, you are sitting next to the misinformation, ma'am. Never mind the 2.5, 3 years almost that we were told and were made to understand from Kristi talking to people that Ethan's body was blocking the door, and that that Hunter Johnson was specifically called over by Dylan and Bethany because he needed to manhandle the door open, and none of those things happened. That all came from Kaylee Goncalves jumping onto YouTube talking to drunk turkey. She then had to come out and do a video and say, yes, that was me that he got that information from. Yes, I'm the one who did the interview with him. And they take no accountability. Ma'am, you are sitting next to the misinformation. Please do some more research before you put people on an ethics panel. Holy shit.
Steve and Kristi, I don't think we've seen in a very long time, at least, more misinformation, more bullshit theories. Am I allowed to swear to CrimeCon stage? I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I swear a lot. I didn't mean to do that.
We love that.
Thank you. We've never seen more bullshit, frankly, come out of a case than some of the theories. So what is that even like to witness it in real time?
You're talking to the people who started it.
And heal when the spotlights are on you in private.
It's so hard. Social media, especially, it's not
unbelievable.
So much
This is so
mainstream
gross.
media as it is social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, where it's kind of like the Wild West. And the content, you have people misconstruing the documents that are coming out, the court documents.
How the hell would you know if they're being misconstrued if you're not reading them yourself in order to actually compare what they say to what we say?
Shut up, Kristi. Shut up, Kristi.
Reading forensic information and not understanding it, just putting their own spin on it. And it just is like that game that you used to play in elementary school where you start something over here and it goes down the line at the end.
The game of telephone? Wrong. It's coming straight from documents that you yourself have told us you have refused to read. So how do you know what's being misconstrued and what isn't if you're not reading them yourself?
It's something totally different. And that's what happens. And it just gets completely misconstrued. And he'll start, when I say him, I hope everybody knows who I'm talking about. I really don't want to say his name. But he'll start as the defendant, as the murderer, and he ends as a hero when it gets to the...
See, and that's all stupid too. No, he doesn't end as a hero. We're trying to figure out the truth here. Who has ever said that Kohberger was a hero? Not me. No one that I talked to has ever once said that Kohberger was a hero. He's a person in this situation that we're being told did these horribly disgusting things, and none of the evidence actually says he does. That he did. That he was anywhere near there. None of it does. See, if the documents were being read by the parents, then maybe they would actually know that.
End of the line. It's like, what happened? Why is this person all of a sudden? We've recently seen
right
that.
Here.
It's been obviously the kids are called Idaho 4.
Watch. She's so
and
dumb.
Lately I've been seeing it's Idaho 5 because he's a victim too.
So I'm not the best at Roman numerals. I'm really not. And I don't give a shit because I don't need to be. I don't live there. I don't use it. I don't need to. The V is a 5 in Roman numerals, but it's also Idaho versus Kohberger. The state of Idaho, V, Bryan, Christopher, Kohberger. See, that's another thing that Kristi wouldn't have so misconstrued if she'd open a freaking document and read the header. It's not a 5, Kristi. Does Idaho 5 Kohberger even make grammatical sense in your mind? Idaho v. Kohberger. Ma'am. I can't deal with this woman. Like, I'm so glad that this is just a thing that I have to deal with like this. Because in real life, her and Dylan, ain't no way.
Obviously, the kids are called Idaho 4. And lately I've been seeing it's Idaho 5 because he's a victim too. Because he's been framed. He's been framed. He's not really guilty. He's been...
Prove he is. Can you prove it? Can you read the documents and actually find me where it actually states in any of the state's evidence that any of this is true? Are you aware, Kristi, which you know you would be if you read the documents, that the state's own blood spatter expert said that this was a multi-person situation, agreed with everything that the defense experts were claiming? Are you even aware that there was nothing found on any of his devices? None of the search warrants ever produced anything? Are you going to just continue to keep the made up shit you got from your illegitimate ways in your mind and just never let any of the truth in? Because if you let the truth in, maybe you'd realize why we're out here so hardcore. It's not for nothing, baby. I promise you that. It's not for nothing.
He was forced to make the plea deal because for whatever reason, the state of Idaho chose him to and let the real person off. Let the real person.
You mean like the way that he wanted to keep his innocent stance by filing an Alford plea, but your husband drunkenly told the guy from Crime Talk that y'all rallied around stopping that? You're not going to repeat that one again, though, are you?
Go and picked him to take the fault. So it's the Idaho 5. And
it's not.
Reading this,
I mean, some people, whatever, but that's not it.
my daughter died horribly.
She did.
She was murdered in the most horrific way by this person, and to see people call our family liars that were...
I was waiting for her to say that. Okay. I have the clip where she says
to Chris Hansen that they never saw the video of the car. And then I have the clip where she then says, all the way back in 2022, 2 days before Bryan Kohberger's arrest, when they talked to Chronicles of Olivia, that they had seen the car on the video. So when we call you a liar, Kristi, honey baby, I promise you, it's not for nothing.
Jeez.
Well, they actually haven't dropped some documents for a while, but we had never seen, any of the footage, so the footage of him driving around the house, the 4 times around the house, you could hear Murphy barking, and you see the girls come home. So that was the last things. They were, I think there was an issue because
She's changing the subject.
Things were coming out that were supposed to be redacted, that were unredacted. And that was such as, the kids, the victims.
Okay, whatever. So you heard her just say that she has not seen, that they have never seen the footage, okay? Chronicles of Olivia interviewed them on December 28th, 2022. She didn't post it until January 13th, but she states in the description box and it states in the interview that this was recorded on 12/28/22. Listen.
We watched the Ring video that showed them pulling up, and
I'll start it back here.
And you guys have added value. I mean, you, Olivia, found the Twitch video that actually solidified the timeline.
We watched the Ring video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, that's them. It's 1:56. That's what time they got home. And there's the car leaving, and yeah.
So we're working.
And I have.
So you did see it, Kristi? She even said, oh, look, it's 1:56. One more time. Listen to this.
We watched the Ring video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, that's them. It's 1:56. That's what time they got home. And there's the car leaving, and yeah.
Okay. And then what did you say over here, ma'am? What did you say over here? On April 8th, 2026, what'd you say?
Jeez.
Well, they actually haven't dropped some documents for a while, but we had never seen, any of the footage, so the footage of him driving around the house, the 4 times around the house.
Liar.
You could hear.
Liar straight to your face, Chris Hansen. Liar straight to your face. No. And you know what else is kind of crazy? I didn't know this. Okay. Some of you guys might have already known this. I didn't know this. Did you guys know? Let me verify before I run my mouth. But when I looked the other day, I came across something and I wasn't sure. Oh, let me just see first. Hold on. Because I wasn't aware of if this was true or not. But let me double check real quick before I say anything else. Hold on. Okay. As far as I can tell, Chronicles of Olivia has deleted everything that she ever posted about the Idaho case from her TikTok page. Like there might have been something here. I don't know why that looks like that. I don't know anything about that icon or for what, but I didn't know that she had gone in and deleted everything. She still has some stuff up on her YouTube page. But see how it starts getting into Riley and then talking about Sebastian? When you start seeing Quentin Simon stuff down here, that's when it's already like we're before the Idaho case. She deleted literally everything that she posted about the Idaho 4 case from her TikTok page. And her TikToks had millions of views. Millions of views. So how much you want to bet that was like a stipulation of their relationship or some shit? Isn't that insane? There's still a couple things on her page, but I was trying to go back and find. I know other people have them recorded, and I know that in like my past videos, we've gone over some things here.
that she had on her TikTok page. But just the simple fact that literally everything that she did is gone is crazy. I just can't believe she married into a family that looks so poorly on what she does for a living. You know what I mean? Like, that's actually insane. Hey, Cajun Bayou Queen, could BK have gone to that area to find drugs? I mean, he could have, but they're not saying, according to what we read from Cyree, that he really like was ever in the actual area of the King Roadhouse. So the only time that they actually had him in Cyree's report anywhere even near the University of Idaho campus was like a week before the crimes took place, where he was like in the southeastern side of the campus, but not in the area of the actual, like the King Road area. Could he have been? I don't know. I don't know if he was using it or not. We've never discussed that. No one's ever said anything. So I don't know. It's not out of the realm of possibility that maybe he was searching for stuff and driving around or doing anything. But we also know that he was shopping there a lot, and that they can't put him in the area like itself. Like, if they could actually put him there, then maybe it'd be a little bit different. Because that was something that some people thought in the beginning, that maybe he was driving around to try to find something. There was even a story of a security guard and him sitting in a car together and using a knife to chop up what they were apparently, like, it was just like some story that got put out there. And I don't know. I don't even know where it actually came from. I remember reading about it somewhere. I don't even remember exactly what it was. It was something like that. But I don't even know who the security guy was or anything. I don't know. But that was one of them. And it involved like handling of the blade because of the cutting of the whatever. Yeah, all that stuff. All that stuff. Thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, Tara. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Congratulations to those who got those. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, it's something that people had talked about before. And I mean, like I said, it's not like out of the realm of possibility that he might have been looking for something. But I feel like if all that he was really seen doing at his parents' house, it seems like, was like rolling up a joint, having a little bag of green stuff. He lived where he could legally go down to Floyd's and just buy stuff. Maybe he did that, but I don't know. They're not saying that he did anything else. So we're just going off of that. You know what I mean?
Lying, and we're covering up the truth.
You are lying.
That we're being horrific way by this.
See, and I feel like, don't sit here and think that I'm just some heartless bitch, okay? I see a mother who lost a child crying on the stage. And I do feel bad for the fact that they lost their kid. But, like, I'm at this point desensitized to these people. They have told so many lies and just talked so disgusting to people who actually give a shit, who are taking the time to read the documents, go over the evidence, put money and energy and mental health into trying to figure out what's going on, when they are just as confused as we are. I'm desensitized to their emotions. Show me anybody else crying about their child, and I'm feeling it deep in my chest. These people, I don't feel it. At this point, we're here for Kaylee's truth. Not whatever these people are out here word vomiting all over the damn place.
My daughter died horribly. She was murdered in the most horrific way by this person, and to see people call our family liars, that we're lying and we're covering up the truth, and that we're being paid.
If you're not covering up for something, then why do you keep lying? And why can we keep proving that you're lying? I think that's a legitimate question.
We're being paid off, and by who, I don't know, by who, or what family would.
I never said they were being paid off
like that. And
I mean, there's a big possibility that the university is behind a lot of stuff. I know that one of the theories is that the university is paying the families off. I think the Goncalveses are lying for their own selfish reasons. I don't think it has anything to do with them being paid off by anyone. I think it's something that they don't want us to know. And I think it has something to do with what happened.
To see these people protect the person that did this, it's just,
we're protecting the
facts.
facts.
It can't get any worse, and then you wake up and you read this kind of shit, and you're like, wow, it can. It does.
Guys were blasted for coming on CrimeCon.
Yeah. Yeah, because they spent the last 3 years, you bald dumbass, sitting here doing nothing but talking shit about the exact people that go to CrimeCon, about the exact people who organized CrimeCon. Yeah, we're talking shit about them going to CrimeCon. Know who you're speaking to. Know who you're sitting next to, please, because you sound stupid.
Let's actually talk about that because we've got some slides, but I don't want these to be up for very long because I don't want to give credit where credit is not due. But some of these toxic echoes from social media, this is some of the stuff that people...
I recognize some of these names too. Okay, so this is where it was, and I was hoping that they put my shit up there for real because, like, I run my mouth so much. I run my mouth so much, but everything I say is like, you know, I haven't lied about a damn thing. Anything that I have seen that has pissed me off has come from their side of the camp, and it's coming straight from there and then parroted back the way that it came to me. So they can kiss all my ass. So this is True Crime Design right here. And they said, is anyone surprised that Steve and Kristi Goncalves have joined the CrimeCon cult of personality? The only recognition this family deserves is for their ability to deceive the public while enriching and victimizing themselves. The sense of entitlement and lack of self-awareness is truly stunning. All facts. CrimeCon is, at its core, fascist propaganda that promotes state-sanctioned punishment, suppression of individual privacy, and the dehumanization of the opposition under the guise of restoring order and justice. Murder victims are sacralized while their surviving family members are idolized and rewarded. It's ritualistic human sacrifice with modern branding. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. So this person said, apparently the G family owns 2 strip clubs. Young Brazilian women there. This is crazy. I don't know anything about this shit. What if perhaps Kaylee discovered that her parents were involved in human allegedly? We heard that she and her parents weren't really as close as we thought, which is true. Like, there's reports in her telling things to her friends about issues that she had with them. And we also know how she ended up having to fend for herself constantly. And the Goncalveses tell those stories about how she always had to fend for herself, and she was such a hustler. What you're doing is telling me that you neglected your kid and she had to do everything on her own. That's all I hear when you tell them bullshit ass stories. And then this person said, oh my, and mama jealous of her babies. I knew it. Well, you know what? I'm telling you right now, as somebody who was a stepmother before they were an actual biological mother, I can promise you right now, the reason why Sam was not in Steve's life is because Kristi was jealous of the relationship, and she didn't want another female to take precedent over her in Steve's life. So she made him choose. And you obviously see the choice that he made. And whatever caused Kristi to be that way continued on, because you can tell by the way that Kaylee had to live. And yeah, everything might look all glamorous because she's pretty and she had nice things. Well, she was working her ass off for those nice things. But as a child, she apparently had to constantly fend for herself and hustle for anything that she wanted, because everything that she said and wanted got blown off by her family. Listen to the stories they tell themselves. Listen to their own words. Listen to their own words. This person says, Steve knows the killers. Pav, get that through your head. Oh God, it's a comment on Pav's channel. How ridiculous. Hey Stevie, I bet you have seen the picture I have of Kaylee being effed up, that 4chan post 3 weeks after their murders that shows 4 perps and Kaylee and Maddie being held. What? This is, I've never even seen that before. That's who Stevie is paying. See, they're not even putting up, like, this one right here that True Crime Design posted is legit, because CrimeCon is a freaking joke, okay? But why aren't they putting up comments right here for things that are facts about all of the lies that they have told, how many times they've been called out for things that people have receipts for? Why are they only putting the bullshit comments up here?
Like to say
Let's
about
see what else
you
they
all,
have.
and how does that, Andy, you've seen this moving and you've seen the rise of things like this.
They chose these stupid ass comments because they don't want people to, they don't want people to realize how many lies that they've been telling, or else they would be putting stuff out here that actually makes some sense, stuff that's actually personal, that has been proven, not people just like making up stuff. There's no proof that there's no strip clubs, or there was pictures on freaking 4chan. Like, they put the dumb shit up here. Again, True Crime Design's comments, the only one that isn't ridiculous, because that one's honest and based on actual facts, and the rest of this is just crazy stuff. They did that on purpose.
When you're working with victims, how has that changed the experience of just being a victim when they're having to look at this?
you know, from
Okay, so okay, see, let's see what this one is. So this is when the law got passed, which again, let's be so serious and let's be for real. Let's walk into reality here. This little bill that the Goncalveses got their little teeth sinked into didn't change shit. Not for what they came out here talking about. Because they were already redacting bodies. They were already not showing us the victims' bodies. And the one time that there was a mistake and Xana's side of her face and her arm came out, they immediately took it down. Because there's already rules. There's already rules. Nothing that they did anything. It didn't change anything. There was already precedents and rules set for that kind of thing. So it was just another thing for the Goncalves name to be used for that they didn't care that they were being used for because it was giving them attention and giving them kudos for something that, just like a million other agencies in this case, they didn't actually do shit. They don't deserve the kudos. It didn't make any changes. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't understand. I don't understand these people. I really don't get it. I don't. So this person says, they're low and sickening people. As soon as I saw and listened to Mr. and Ms. Goncalves, the grieving parents of one of the victims of the I-4 tragedy in the first interviews, my stomach clenched because I could tell immediately that they are low. Yeah, the very first interview on 11/20/22 that I found where it's them two on the phone, that's where she calls her a brat and starts like making like a mimicky voice about how she didn't want to be with Jack and stuff like that. They instantly, from the very second that we heard their voices, I was not comfortable with Kristi at all. We still stood up for Steve for like a super long time because he was out here like not letting the cops be stupid. He was like, no, we want answers. We want proof. We want people to be out here knowing information. None of this makes any sense. We were totally rallying behind Steve until this truth started coming out. When I know the kind of person that you are, I can't support you anymore. And then all you did was lie. All you did was lie. Low morals, low empathy, low standards, just low people. The kind of people that will use and abuse anyone, anywhere to get what they want. The kind of people who make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. People to stay away from if you know it's good for you. All of the back end private conversations that I've read, the conversations that we saw between Brad Norton from TikTok and Steve Goncalves, where he's talking all kinds of shit about all kinds of people and saying all kind of crazy shit. We know who Steve is. We know who old Dr. Pep Diet is. Okay, like his facade is gone. His facade is definitely gone. Manipulative, sneaky, and low down. Making money off the tragic murder of their daughter is just another viable option to folks like this. Unfortunately, these types are a dime a dozen. They know they're disgusting, and that is why they're pushing back so hard, protecting their own putrescence onto others, projecting their own putrescence, what a word, onto others, because they know how awful and empty they are, but they don't want anyone else to know, and they think they're clever. It's awful that we live in an age when demonic behavior like theirs is celebrated instead of being called out and shamed. The world is in a sad state indeed, and I refuse to be quiet about it anymore. They're despicable examples of parents, in my opinion. In my opinion, will not change. Nauseating. Well, I mean, damn. If that wasn't a very on-point freaking comment. And it's because of how they've come out here and behaved. They have lied. They have manipulated information. They have come out here and told a million different things incorrectly and have taken no responsibility whatsoever, while also saying that they aren't reading the documents, that they're not taking the time to sit there and read anything while they're out here lying. None of that is cute. None of that is cute. Curious Cat says, so much evidence covered up. I wouldn't want to be a part of the G family at all. Sus. Always have thought substances and illegally moving people and things was involved. I don't know about the African DNA being found in a knife sheath. I've never heard anything like that whatsoever. But yeah, there was definitely, there's a lot of people that think that there was like some sort of substances and some sort of something going on that they maybe had information on.
A victim's perspective, you're dealing through the trauma, the pain, the grief, and the agony of losing your loved one, and then all of a sudden you're finding out other people, for whatever reasons, seem to believe that the loss is a form of entertainment. And you've got keyboard warriors that are basically anonymous that can throw out.
I'll come meet you at your headquarters, sir. It's not a far drive for me. Anonymous my ass. No, I am not.
Their law, the loss is a form of entertainment. And you've got keyboard warriors that are basically anonymous that can throw out anything they want. And if you say things enough, it eventually gets traction, like it's real. Like in Kohberger, every day I see something on Facebook, X, Instagram. It's religiously done.
You see it? Because if you were on social media, then you would know that they've been lying about stuff. And if you cared about the case that you're sitting next to those parents for, then you'd be reading the documents and know that they lie. Seems like you don't even know what you're talking about or who you're talking to. It really does.
Every day where it's droned into the mass of the public, and eventually you're continuing to give somebody like that the infamy and the immortality that...
No, she just attacked murder victims. She just put face paint on and pretend to be them and make fun of them and mock them in videos where she goes by the name Shazam. That's what Lana does. But go off. Go off. Shut up.
They richly don't deserve because they were a mass murderer. And they're the ones that are turned into household names.
And I want to say something about what is on everybody's screen right now. And I apologize. I can't actually read it, and I thought I'd be able to, but it's very tiny in front of me. But if you see that middle picture,
I read it.
That is somebody ripping this family for wanting to be on stage to talk about their daughter's murder to bring awareness.
Ugh.
Themselves. And I want you all to know how much courage it takes, and that I need you two to hear this.
I am so incredibly proud of you. And it's people like you that make my job worth doing.
You know, Renee, also as a victim advocate, as someone who's worked with surviving family members of homicide for 30 years, there is nothing that I like working better, and I'm sure you would agree, than people like Steve and Kristi that recognize, look, we can't go back and change what happened to them, but we're going to make things better for others to come along, and you've achieved a lasting legacy. Doing what you're doing, taking a negative and turning it into positive action for social change makes Renee and my job much easier.
When we're talking about social media and the maelstrom that you all had to deal with, were there ever times it was helpful? Were there ever times that tips came in that were good? Was there ever engagement? Is there ever a place for the public to engage with this case and with you all and make it better?
Yeah, 100%. I had so many people reach out to us in this case. I mean, if you start from the very beginning, we got the 112 camera from one of the streets right in front of the crime scene.
So more proof, even more proof that Kristi lied to Chris Hansen, because here is now Steve at CrimeCon, where Chris Hansen is sitting, by the way. Chris Hansen is there. He speaks. He speaks at CrimeCon. He was there. So now he's even here saying, oh, we had that camera footage. We know you had it, Steve. We know Jack DeCour got it for you. We knew that before Jack's interviews because you told Brett Norton that. But Chris Hansen also thinks you're a pedophile if you care about looking at crime scene photos. So it doesn't really, you know, it all maths to me why these people are all friends with each other for real.
And then we got the professional driver's information, and that led to the grub truck video. So we were living what you guys are here for. We were actively saying, okay, we're not just going to sit here and be victims. We're all going to get on the phones. We're all going to start figuring out. We're going to look at the last people that they talked to and met. So it can, I mean, we added a ton of value to that case. We fixed their timeline. Their timeline was wrong because we got into Kaylee's phone. We saw the last messages, the time they got picked up.
Let me correct that because
we got into Kaylee's phone. We know y'all cloned it. We know y'all cloned it. But see how he's sitting here? Oh, we did all these things. We gave them all this information. We corrected all these issues that they had. And while, yes, they came out and they corrected the public information that the police were giving us. But the police knew that the girls got home at 1:56. The police knew that Dylan and Lakeland got there around, what was it? Like
12:40ish. 12:40ish. The police knew that Bethany got home around like 1:30, 1:45. They knew all of that. They weren't going to come out in the press conference, which I understand now, but it's still stupid that they didn't try to at least correct it later on in the PCA. And the PCA is where it should have been very specific, and it's not. It's very vague and clumped together. So during the press conferences, I can understand why they were like, everyone got home at 1:45, because they wanted to sort of like bundle it together in the middle. But for that information to still be repeated like later on in the PCA and for other things that needed to be more detailed, there's really no excuse for that. There's really no excuse for that. So while yes, they did come out and correct it into the public, and while we were still waiting for information and they were still needing to find information and they still had no truth to anything, it makes sense that they did want to come out and be like, it was not 1:45, it was 1:56. That's 11 minutes. That's a long time, considering that it takes, what is it, like 4 minutes to get from the grub truck to the house? Like, you can go back and forth almost like, what, 2.5 times in that time frame? 11 minutes is a lot in a small town. So it did matter. And the time that they got to the corner club mattered too, because it shortened the amount of time that they actually weren't home and then getting on camera at the corner club. Yeah, you definitely came out and corrected things to the public, but the police had that already. You know what I mean? They already had that.
Her phone via phone records, because Kaylee's, it's my account. At the time, it's a Sprint account. It's my account. So we looked at.
Hold the hell on. Did she just say it was Sprint? She just said it was Sprint. When it comes to all of this information, that stuff has been out there for years. Since before Idaho was even starting to be covered. So that's false as hell. She just said that it was Sprint. It wasn't Sprint.
Because her phone via phone records, because Kaylee's, it's my account. At the time, it's a Sprint account.
It wasn't Sprint. When was the T-Mobile? Okay, so when was the T-Mobile merger? Because no, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter though, Miller time, because there was no search warrants for Sprint. Like, Sprint hasn't been around in years. I had Sprint like 15 years ago. It's not even around anymore. Let's see when that happened. Because all of the search warrants are for T-Mobile and not Sprint. When did T-Mobile buy Sprint? In April 2020. T-Mobile, no. This happened years before this happened. It wouldn't have been Sprint anymore. Maybe she just make it, maybe it's just, she's just misspeaking. Because that was years before this even took place. Did Sprint exist in 2022? Because if they're hiding a cell phone line, that's kind of like where I'm going with this. Did Sprint exist in 2022? Sprint still existed in 2022. And it was still operating as a major U.S. wireless carrier at the time before it merged with T-Mobile. Well, it just said it was freaking done in April. Yeah, post-2020, Sprint's customers, stores, and network assets were absorbed by T-Mobile. So maybe she's just going back to whatever it was originally. But we know that the search warrants were for T-Mobile. But I'm still not getting an answer to her if, I guess it wouldn't have been. Yeah, because by this point, Sprint had been bought up 2 years prior. So everything would have been T-Mobile. It's just, she's probably just slipping back to what it was when they originally got the plan. They probably had that plan for like a super long time.
Messages, the time they got picked up.
Let me correct that, because her phone via phone records, because Kaylee's, it's my account. At the time, it's a Sprint account. It's my account. So we looked at the online, not her actual phone.
Yeah. So
we don't have her phone. We
yeah,
still don't.
Yeah, they don't have the phone.
We want to be more careful, because when we say generic stuff like that, people think we're lying, and they'll twist it and say stuff that I didn't mean to, so she clears it for me. So that's what a couple does.
He likes to lie. That's all he does.
He
Everything out of
does.
his mouth is a lie.
See how they make it a joke? I literally just popped up proof of lies, and that's just one of 80 that I have proven. And they're laughing like it's funny that they're known to be liars.
Twist it and say stuff that I didn't mean to, so she clears it for me. So that's what a couple does.
He likes to lie. That's all he does. Everything out of his mouth is a lie.
And I see a headline tomorrow.
And
Lies,
that's
lies,
the thing
lies.
is, I didn't misunderstood what CrimeCon was, or I would have been here earlier. I thought
What does that got to do with anything?
Like almost like a comic place where people went and they picked sides and they were coming in and there were some people that would be pro. And so I wanted nothing to do with that. But once I realized what it really was people coming together to make a change in the world when it comes to crimes and victimhood and making sure that the system's better, then I was like, I have to be a part of that. And that's what I've seen.
Okay, Steve, whatever you say, bro.
And social media has been great in a lot of ways. I mean, we have a family page.
Or no, how
and a
about
Facebook-
why was Eric Gower a complete stranger to the Goncalveses, but when Chronicles of Olivia interview him, they say that Eric Gower is a family member. Steve calls him a family member and just a great guy. Mr. Airplane Bottle, who complains about his wife and baby to all the cute college girls, is such a great guy. God, they've lied from the literal beginning. It's so ridiculous.
And social media has been great in a lot of ways. I mean, we have a family page and a Facebook page, and I run that page.
We know you
and,
do. You tell people to unfuck themselves when they ask you why y'all don't care about the hair in Ethan's hand or about the unknown DNA. But thank you for confirming that it's been you the whole time.
We started it pretty early on. I don't know, within the first year after losing Kaylee, and it's just it's like it's my little home. You know, I it's a happy place for me. You know, I go in there and I talk about things that we're doing, and some days are sad days, and I share my sad days. I share gifts that people send us. Some days are great days, you know, and I'm like, it's you know, I share our birthdays that are coming up and whatnot and things like that. So, and we get a lot of, I mean, everybody on there is great. Sometimes a shithead gets in there and, you know, you just got to delete.
Sometimes somebody who comes in there trying to hold you accountable comes in there and you throw a whole bitch fit.
And block them, but, you know, but
This is true too. She's a guilter.
A lot of great social media.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand why she talks about it
throughout this. So absolutely, you know, it can be great, but there is a very dark side to social media from our perspective and from what we have.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to hear from all three of you on this. We talked about the very highs, the wonderful people and creating a safe space, and the very lows and the just awful trolls. But I think all of us kind of sit in the middle with pretty much everything. Politics, true crime, we live in the middle. So what about the people who aren't posting, but they're sharing? Or maybe they're kind of coming from a neutral place where they just share something they see and they think the families won't see it and it doesn't cause any harm. What do you want those folks to know?
Well, you know what? I think sharing is one of.
This is the stupidest comment that she makes, honestly, throughout this entire panel. Well, I'm just going to say it ahead of time so that you guys can understand why I'm stopping to say this. She says that sharing someone else's comment is even more harmful than you having your own original idea to comment yourself. That's what she's about to say.
Something they see and they think the families won't see it and it doesn't cause any harm. What do you want those folks to know?
Well, you know what? I think sharing is one of the biggest ways of almost speaking, because you know, you share that and then somebody else shares it and you know, just continues to get shared and shared. So it spreads like wild, you know, fire. And so sharing, I feel
yeah, they do.
If it's a false narrative or if it's an ugly message or something like that is worse than making your own comment, you know, sharing somebody else's. So
Sharing somebody else's comment is worse than making your own comment.
Narrative, or if it's
wild,
an ugly message or something like that is worse than making your own comment, you know, sharing somebody else's. So,
you know,
y'all wild. But she also doesn't want to say that sharing is bad, because if people didn't share stuff, nobody would share anything from their little family page and they wouldn't get as much attention. That's why she hesitated. Thank you for the $4.99, Shantae Nicole. Never realized how much they go back on their words until I really started watching you this past week. I appreciate your realness. 3 days, new member. Well, thank you for coming in here. There's a lot. They go back on their words absolutely every single interview. And I don't know why. That's what's so bewildering about them. I'm not trying to be this like super bitch, okay? We followed this family's journey from the very beginning, and Kristi instantly, like you guys know, we'll be going over that interview soon in a Way Back Wednesday episode, and we're going to be going back to the beginning, seeing what they say versus what's going on now. But we're going to be doing that for all of them. For when the Laramies came out to speak, when Ben Mogen did an interview. Well, really, we're really just going to go over Ben's stuff because he deserves to get attention too. He hasn't said anything crazy. He doesn't come out here lying or trying to say anything about the case. He just misses his daughter, misses his best friend. We're going to be giving them all attention, but we're really only going to be having something to say when it comes to the Chapins and the Goncalveses, because no one else is out here doing this crazy shit. Ben is a grieving father. Maddie's mom. Yeah, Karen Laramie. I understand her not wanting like her daughter's bedroom pictures out there. Like it was a personal thing. I just didn't, for the sake of the case itself, didn't like that was going to include the knife sheath. Now, obviously, we ended up getting those photos and those things anyway. The fact that the Chapins just piggybacked onto stuff, and they've not wanted Ethan's story to even be told, and they've tried to erase him this entire time, is just so absolutely insane. While the Goncalveses have constantly come out and lied from day one. And then for Kristi to come out into an interview and say that for the first time in their almost 30-year relationship, Steve ends up in the urgent care that same night that their daughter is getting brutally murdered. And it's for something that is like stress-induced, anxiety-induced, can be triggered by certain things. Then they don't go to Moscow. Then they lie. The second that they get on the news, they lie about Kaylee's relationships, what she was doing. Why are we lying? I'm just bewildered by the lies.
When you advocate on behalf of one faction, you will generally infuriate the other faction. And that comes with the territory. So I'll give you an example. One day when I was in the mayor's office, a reporter asked our mayor, Bob Lanier, about something that I might have done or said that might have offended someone, which I thought, I can't believe I would offend anybody. But God bless, our mayor turned to that reporter and he said, look, I don't expect Mr. Khan to please the criminal element. And that line resonates still to this day. So you have to have a lot of intestinal fortitude.
But it does anyway.
And that just comes with the territory. And as we were talking at lunch earlier, if they're attacking you, that means you're effective. And that's how I look at it. So
is the reason why I get attacked by a bunch of guilters is because I'm effective? Probably. Is the reason why the Goncalveses get attacked for lying is because they're effective? No, it's because they're freaking liars. So no, sir, you're not actually accurate on your little sentiments.
You want to
here.
come at me? Bring it on.
See?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know, honestly. I feel like he's drunk. I feel like he's drunk because every single time he gets asked something, it's completely off subject. It's about something that's not related. Well, it's the same thing as being off subject. It's just completely unrelated. He just like says something to say something. I think he's drunk. I think he's whiskey drunk. He's just saying shit to say shit. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Fortitude, and that just comes with the territory. And as we were talking at lunch earlier, if they're attacking you, that means you're effective.
No, he's just random. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
And that's how I look at it. So if you want to come at me, bring it on. Yeah.
See what I
And
mean?
He's serious because I've
Okay.
come at Andy. He's not kidding.
So speaking of effective, a lot of people have asked about Olivia, our daughter, our oldest daughter, and her victim impact statement and how we. Yeah, thank you.
See? Yeah. Our daughter's a big bully who talks like that to everyone, including my other daughter that I threw away like trash. I have the text messages to prove it. Let's clap.
So my daughter was effective, so effective that she went and she didn't go there to grovel and to beg and to be more victimized. She said what she needed to say. She was the big sister. And as she's just dismantling this individual, which you'll later learn on had major problems with women,
No, he
thought he
didn't.
was better than every single woman in the
No,
room.
he didn't.
And literally had other PhDs that were totally graduated that he was supposed to be learning from, was basically belittling them and telling them that they couldn't teach him because he was just a smarter person than they were.
Where's the proof of that, Steve? Where's the proof of that, Steve? Keep on making stuff up.
Well, so he's getting dismantled by my daughter piece by piece. We're getting death threats from the Kohbergers. So that's exactly what he's saying.
Death threats? I don't even believe you. I really don't.
Well, so he's getting dismantled by my daughter piece by piece. We're getting death threats.
Oh, he's talking about at the sentencing. Okay. So you guys remember the other day I said I filed a FOIA with Ada County to see if what Judge Hippler said was true about how they apparently had threats and all kinds of stuff coming into the courthouse in between the 30th of June and the 2nd of July for the guilty plea thing. Well, they told me that there was nothing there for that. Okay. But then I filed a FOIA for the death threats. I filed a FOIA for the information that they claim was sent to them during the sentencing. Let me see if I can actually find the request thing right here. I haven't gotten an actual response, but I have gotten a extension needed for that one. So I don't know if that means that it's actually going to produce something or not. But so far, when it comes to Judge Hippler saying that they sent stuff over to the police because they were getting threats at the plea change, they're telling me that none of that shit exists. And when it comes to the messages that they have said that they got at the sentencing, they now need an extension. So hopefully we actually get something from that.
From the Kohbergers. So that's exactly what he's saying. If you're effective and you're making people, and I challenge all of you guys to go home and tell people what CrimeCon is truly about. It's about advocate. It's about helping. It's about not just watching, but actually helping people, helping make the world better. And I think that.
Yes, going to CrimeCon and paying your ticket makes the world better. Okay.
It's about advocate. It's about helping. It's about not just watching, but actually helping people, helping make the world better. And I think that's what we could do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
sure.
did. We at the sentencing, and people say, "Oh, how did people get your phone number?" Well, people message me all the time. Oh, it's out there. I don't know how, but
I don't have your phone number. I've never found your phone number anywhere, Kristi. So if you're getting text message threats from somebody that has your phone number, is it somebody that you know? Because I've never seen anyone like dox their information. I've never seen anyone just dox their information. Thank you for the 5 Ant Boo Boo. A toxic combination of lying, but also just being genuinely dumb, talking out their asses. Steve's voicemail lie should have been way bigger than it was. Oh, the one where he tried to say that Kaylee left Jack a voicemail. Yeah, because that wasn't true. They've never said that there was a voicemail. He's not saying that he had a voicemail. Instead, there's actually a whole 17-minute call that Jack is curious as to if there's audio for, because he's worried that for some reason it was recorded, which tells me that he must remember exactly what was talked about in that 17 minutes in order for him to be so worried in that tone of voice he had when he asked that question.
And mind you, this is something that if it was done through the actual phone call logs, they would have known about that 17-minute phone call. And they still sat there and took up for everything when it comes to Jack.
They do. Sometimes I get messages saying, I support you and this and that. And sometimes we get some really weird messages. But sitting there in court that day during the sentencing in the courtroom, I got a message saying, you and Olivia think you're really funny. And
they knew a serial killer and they were going to send to kill her.
I know a serial killer is what it said was, and I also know yours and Olivia's address, and I'm going to give it to them. So,
and I was like, I'm shocked that you're.
I was like, a serial killer, and you're friends with them? Wow, convenient, I guess, right? So,
did we ever see this? Didn't Brian Inton do a segment on this? Did he show it? Let me look. I know that Brian Inton was like the first person to come out and mention this. But let me see if he shows it. Goncalves threats inside courtroom. Okay, let's see.
Who has...
I'm just going to like scroll in and see if he pops anything up real quick. Probably not. No. He doesn't put anything up on the screen. He's just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and then he puts somebody else up on the stage. So have they never posted a picture of this anywhere? Have they never posted a picture of anything anywhere? I guess we'll see, because if this extension comes back and there's nothing there, then I'm just going to assume once again that they've lied. And if they are not lying, then they need to produce the proof of the text message. Because I don't recall them ever sharing the screenshot at all.
So
and I was like, I'm shocked that you're.
I was like, a serial killer, and you're friends with them? Wow, convenient, I guess, right? So yeah, they did. So they were not happy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
The things that were being said. But we're not there to protect him. Why should we? I mean, he's never asked for forgiveness. He's never showed any type of remorse. I mean, I think it's pretty normal for us not to like him. It's pretty normal for us to, not say good things about him. So.
I mean, yeah, I understand that, but lying is another thing.
The other side of things.
Lying is a different thing.
Some positive things and some amazing things. And Steve, you mentioned your daughter, and let's talk about some of her efforts and what she's doing, and really what your family has been doing following your family.
So I'm gonna let them just talk right here. I mean, I've said what I had to say. They didn't change anything. They really didn't. And you guys saw Steve is going to sit there and act like they got reached out to by people of importance to piggyback onto this law. And then we watched the video. I think Sarah D. Irish is the one that had the video and sent it over to me of Olivia actually like speaking in front of the lawmakers. And they couldn't pronounce her last name correctly. They didn't know who she was. They didn't know why she was there. They didn't know shit about her or Kaylee or any of the reasons why this is important to them. None. They didn't know who the hell she was. And she's a whole mess. She's given laser eyes at her freaking baby that's in there because the baby is getting on her nerves because the baby's not leaving her alone while she's talking to them, and she's cutting these eyes at her kid that are crazy right in front of these damn law people. Like, go back and watch it. We went over it. We watched it. We talked about it. It's crazy. But they didn't change anything. It did not change anything. There's already regulations in place for bodies of victims themselves, the bodies themselves, not to be out there to the public for things that are unwarranted invasion of personal privacy being held back. Nothing changed here. Nothing changed.
Family in Idaho in 2026, just this year, there was a law released to prevent the public image of graphic crime scene. Oh, let me try that again. Protect the public distribution of any graphic crime scene images. That places control directly in the families, and everybody here was so much behind that.
Do you know where it's at?
What did it take to get that passed? And
I'd like to see it. I'll
what
show it on the screen right
does
now.
that feeling of protection finally mean to you? And Andy, when you're working with victims, what does that mean to them?
I'm going to tell you about crime scene photos. And in 2013, we had a situation in Texas. We had an individual that murdered a 15-year-old girl and a 3-year-old boy. He was executed because we actually execute people in Texas. And
oh yeah, but you let everybody else go free. Shut up.
imagine that. And after the execution, there was an organization that filed an open records request, and they wanted a copy of the police report and the crime scene photos. Totally legal. They did not do anything illegally. But what they did next really pissed me off. And you don't want to piss me off, trust me. Because they took the pictures of the 15-year-old girl who was nude from the waist up and a 3-year-old boy whose pants were soiled in a field, and they plastered the pictures all over their website.
Yeah, that's not okay.
And I went, So I did some background, and I found out in the state of Georgia, there was a 24-year-old college grad.
I'm honestly just surprised that Texas released body photos of minors before. I mean, Texas is a damn joke. Don't let anybody tell you or make you believe the state's actually worth a shit. It might have been 20 years ago. This state's a damn joke. It's been a joke for a hot ass minute now. Okay. Okay. I am honestly shocked, though, that they released death scene photos of 2 minors. That's wild as shit.
Graduate student named Meredith Emerson. She was abducted, raped while hiking in a Georgia state park. Case got a lot of national attention. After the dude was convicted, true story, Hustler magazine filed an open records request.
I'm fucking sorry. I must have missed this part.
After the dude was convicted, true story, Hustler magazine filed an open records request wanting Meredith's crime scene photos for publication.
A minor that's deceased. What the sick shit? Oh my God.
The people of Georgia went ballistic.
Yeah.
They ended up passing a bill called
Georgia did that. Okay. Texas didn't release minors' nude photos in their death scenes. Georgia did that. Holy shit. It shouldn't. I don't understand how death scenes of minors get out there anyway. Like, I understand wanting to see the scene itself, but the body should always be redacted on a child. And honestly, I don't want to see full-on bodies either. Like, there's ways for you guys to be able to blur out the bodies to where we get to actually see the scene and understand what happened without exposing everyone's everything. Like, there's ways around all of this. They always just want to be one side or the other. But regardless, for a child, especially a nude-ass child, that's crazy that a magazine would even think that that was something. What? Why would you want a death scene for 1? And why would you want minors for 2? Why would you want to put both of those things together as a magazine? That is so disgusting.
The Meredith Emerson Privacy Act, which basically states if you want to look at crime scene photos, by all means, you can go to the jurisdiction and look at them. But guess what? You are not going to reproduce. You are not going to get a copy unless you get a court order. And I brought that back to Texas, and Texas became the second state to pass where you cannot get cannot get access.
So Texas already was actually not going to stop that from happening? That should be a federal law. There should just be federal laws for all of this. The states shouldn't get to pick and choose and decide which different ways they want to do this kind of shit, considering it's the federal act. Okay, federal situation. It's federal guidelines for the Freedom of Information Act. It's federal guidelines. It should be all the way across the board, the exact same. Minors don't come out. Nude stuff doesn't come out. Like, there should be stipulations for once that the country is actually uniform with. Everything with this country is also ridiculously a joke because they want to make everybody's stuff special. No, not everything needs to be different. Not everything needs a variety. Okay? It doesn't. Death penalty should be the same across the board for if you do something to children. If you do some crazy shit that means that you don't need to live anymore, well, that's the same across the board. A pedophile in California shouldn't be able to walk out with zero bond, but then gets the death penalty in Florida. There should be some sort of middle ground that we all handle here. Okay? I don't understand how the laws are so everywhere, like your medical insurance policies are so everywhere. Nothing is the same anywhere. And I always say every single system that is created for the betterment of human life is broken and does not work. Unless you are a corrupt asshole who is going to lie your way to the top and piss and step on everyone in front of you to get there, it doesn't matter what you do in this life. You can be as honest as humanly possible. If you are not willing to break the law, to bend the law, to throw somebody under the bus, to literally end a life half the time whenever these things go stupid, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to be willing to bend to the bullshit, because that's all that this place is. Oh, look, applause for me.
And what
Yes,
was
I know.
happening with their family, really, I could not believe that they were releasing the crime scene photos. And then if I was part of their law enforcement, I would have said, okay, maybe it says by statute that we have to, but guess what? I'm not going.
Girl, this looks so fake. Like, I know that you sent it to me, but this is definitely fake. This is so fake. Like, this was made for the news. And thank you for the 199 wit. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so she sent me this text message. This is fake. This is fake as hell. Hold on. I don't want all the email stuff to show. Hold on a second. Let me open this separately. This is fake. This is something created for the news. This is not even a picture. They couldn't even put a picture of her phone. This is so damn fake. Hold on. Look at this shit. Oh my God. Look at this shit. Fake phone. I mean, I could make something better in Canva. They couldn't take a picture of her phone or get a real screenshot. This is fake. Let me read it. Sitting near you in court and watching you is a joke. So somebody's supposed to be somebody that is claiming to be sitting there in the courtroom. Okay. You know what? You know that Bryan is innocent. Making threats to Bryan about getting AR'd in prison was very silly. And notice it's a 4 instead of an A. Why'd you do that? Because you were getting it social media ready? That's crazy. I am in contact with a lot of serial killers, including BTK, and I've been put in contact with a wannabe serial killer who was in Moscow, Idaho, and I've given him your address. I'm sorry, this is fake as fuck. This is so fake. Show me the screenshot with a timestamp on it, Kristi. Oh, it better say July 23rd and whatever freaking time in the morning this shit was. This is fake. Right? A screenshot would have been an unreasonable invasion of her privacy. Yeah, no shit. This is fake, bro. Like, you couldn't have had Steve take a picture of your phone and then give it to the news. What is this? Like, death threats are not cool. Like, I already said, if somebody really did this, like, that's crazy. Like, if somebody really sat there and, like, threatened their life and said all that crazy shit in court, then you're an asshole and you shouldn't have done that. That's wild as hell. You're no better than they are being stupid, okay? But that looked fake. That looked fake, this shit. Oh, my God. I can't believe. I can't believe. Oh, my God. Cannot believe.
Photos. And then if I was part of their law enforcement, I would have said, okay, maybe it says by statute that we have to, but guess what? I'm not going to do it, and you can challenge it, but they didn't do that. And I just find that so unbelievably wrong.
Yeah, that whole Hustler thing is
There
wild
has
as hell.
been some wrong things in our case, and unfortunately, as victims, we're trying to do our best to make the system better with the help of people like you. And it's hard. I mean, we all know about a book that just came out where an expert witness led
That's broken plea.
and now he's making maybe millions off of it.
Oh my God, you're so
Terrible to
stupid.
learn.
You're so dumb. You're so dumb. You're so dumb. Turvey's not making any money off of coming out here and talking to that stupid shit Chris Whitcomb. Chris Whitcomb got money for writing his shit book that I'm going to be writing a page-by-page rebuttal debunking book for and self-publishing myself on Amazon pretty soon here. I've literally made up my mind. Number one. Turvey's not making money talking to Chris Whitcomb. Chris Whitcomb already got an advance. He's not getting anything else from any sales. He's already got his money. That's how it works. Turvey didn't get paid to do that. He's out here not really being completely honest about the things that he is saying, unfortunately, you know. But this was not a leak either, sir. This was information that came out, was discussed, was put into a book, and was worked on for a long time that has, for the majority, public documentation, and we've been able to FOIA some things and get a couple of things, whatever. But the majority of those things aren't exactly what we're being told. The things exist, but the stories that are coming from the people who told us about these things, they don't know what the hell they're talking about for half of this shit. 85% of this shit, maybe even 95%. Okay. But there was no leak of information. The leak happened a year and a half ago, almost now, over a year ago, when the Dateline situation happened. That's the leak. So Steve doesn't even have his own information together. He's getting everything all mixed up. No, what happened with this book is not a leak. It's not a leak at all.
I mean, we all know about a book that just came out where an expert witness led to a leak, and now he's making maybe millions off of it. It's terrible to learn about what your final
He's ridiculous. Millions. He's not making any money off of that
profit book. So those are the type of things that have gotten a little out of hand, and that's with mainstream media. So I don't want like the crime people to get blamed for that. This is a publisher who did this in front of everybody with an expert witness that went through the court system. So I mean, we get a lot of blame for it as the small people that are interested, but these big people mess it up a lot too.
You get blamed for the things that you lie about. We blame Turvey for the things that he's been not honest about. We call it out where it needs to be called out. Be honest about it, actually.
The crime scene photos, actually, we were told, so there are various entities that held the crime scene photos in our case. There was Moscow Police Department, and there was Idaho State Police, as well as FBI. FBI has never released any photos. I don't think they ever will. But we were told that they would not be releasing any photos. They said that they would not do it. And
I promise you right now, they never, ever, 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 ever were told that crime scene photos were not going to be released. I promise you right now, they were never told that. They might have been promised that the bodies would not be released, but they were never, ever told that crime scene photos were not going to be released. That is a bold-faced lie. Crime scene photos get released in cases literally across the country 100+ times a day, 1,000+ times a day. They never told you that, Kristi. You can stop over-exaggerating.
We took a sigh of relief, and we were like, thank God. And all of a sudden, we woke up, and there were thousands of crime scene photos on the internet, and
that you were told about ahead of time. Olivia's come out and said that y'all got a heads up. Y'all have come out and said that y'all have gotten a heads up. But go ahead and keep pretending like you just wake up and it's just there in your face. No, it's not. Y'all get literally warned every single time. Y'all always say that stupid shit. And then the next interview you do, you say, we got a call the day before. Y'all always end up telling on y'all selves. Why the frick are you lying, bro?
Thank God. And all of a sudden we woke up, and there were thousands of crime scene photos on the internet. And we had not prepared for that at all.
You were told.
Had they told us,
they did.
That, we were under the impression that they weren't.
They've already came out and told us they got a call from the Idaho State Police. Oh my God. You could OD on the lies these people tell. Holy shit.
Going to be released, and then they suddenly are. But we didn't even have a heads up. And
So let me tell y'all something, and I don't give a shit because I had people say something stupid to me about this on Facebook. I don't give a damn. I'm not changing my mind. They got married on July 4th. You know how selfish and conceited and self-absorbed you have to be to get married on a holiday that is federally known, that has meaning and has had meaning at this point now for generations longer than those people have been alive. And instead of waiting day after, or maybe even doing it the way Taylor and Travis did and be ridiculous and do it the day before, they got married on Independence Day. I think that that's very self-absorbed and conceited to now expect people to celebrate you instead of what's supposed to be celebrated on that day. And I'd be saying the same thing if it was Christmas or any other like major ass holiday, especially considering that this was like the 250th birthday of the country. Why are you getting married on 4th of July? Now you want everyone to think of you and your wedding and all of your shit on that day instead of what everyone's been thinking about for generations now. Now you want everyone to put you in the forefront. I'm not going to change my mind on that. Getting married on a major holiday like that is selfish. It really is. Or lazy because everyone already has the day off and they don't have anything else to do. I mean, either way, that's ridiculous to me. I find it tacky and ridiculous. Yes, tacky. I do. I find it tacky. I really do. I mean, Halloween, I know a lot of people that get married on Halloween, Valentine's Day, like different things like that. 4th of July just seems like that's weird. Plus, I also know that they see the camera thing. Somebody just said something about doing it all for the cameras. Where's it at? See, that's what I mean. They're doing things because they now have a page called the Chronicles of Goncalves. Like they've tried to turn this, like, for some reason, these people need a love story, okay? They have lied to us for almost 4 years now about Kaylee, Jack, and the dog, okay? For real lied. Jack didn't want Murphy. Kaylee was literally trying to hook back up with Mason Barstow 12 hours before she was killed. But we're supposed to believe that her and Jack were close to getting back together. She was just trying to hook back up with Mason Barstow. And look, people can say whatever they want to, but I really do wonder if she was also trying to hook up with Jack Showalter that night. She didn't want Jack. She was rejected by Mason Barstow. She's been known to bring people home from the bar before. I'm not saying anything is wrong with it. I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but I'm really just curious as to if she was trying to bring Jack Showalter home for that reason. She was not trying to get back with Jack. The opposite. And literally, they also sat there in the Chronicles of Olivia interview and talked all this crazy shit that we now know is a lie about how when they were at the corner club, they were hanging around with Jack the whole time. They weren't over there with Showalter in the corner. They're over there with the ex-boyfriend where it's comfortable. Really? Because the actual corner club information says that they stayed completely on opposite sides of the bar from each other the entire night, except for one time where they spoke for just a handful of minutes before then separating again and not speaking to each other again the rest of the time before they left. Why are they lying to us about everything? Why are they faking this love story? And why now did they take the 1 million+ follower true crime person that Kaylee was following, talked all this shit about true crime people? Now, the biggest one that was following their case at the time is now married to their son that was also a University of Idaho student at the time. And everything that she had on TikTok is gone. The only thing that she has left on her YouTube page is the documentary and then a phone call that she got from one of Bryan Kohberger's So Safe friends, like the day after his arrest was announced. And then there's like her being there in front of Bryan Kohberger's apartment. Like all of her actual investigative stuff from before is gone. It's all gone. She's done stuff with like the floods and like done other reports and stuff like that. I don't know if she's still talking about true crime. She might be. But everything regarding the case is off of her TikTok, and there's like 3 or 4 little videos left on her channel. They have found a way to literally erase this girl from even like doing what she wanted to do with her life. They sit there on every single interview and talk shit about people like her. And I'm just like, how could you marry a family that literally makes you feel less than shit every time they get on a camera because they do nothing but talk about your way of life and what you're known for and how you were introduced to them? Girl, Like the low self-esteem. I'm sorry, but there's no way that you would just marry into this family with how much hatred they have for people who are literally you. And don't expect people to not blink an eye. Like something's weird. Something's weird about that entire thing. I don't know what it is yet, but something's weird about it.
They told us, you know, we were under the impression that they weren't going to be released, and then they suddenly are. But we didn't even have a heads up.
But again, you did.
At least to the first batch. The second batch, one of the detectives called Olivia about 20 minutes before, said that they'd be released in about 2 hours, and they were live 20 minutes later. But the first batch of photos, none. And that really hit Olivia. And that is what really led her to do this, the bill, and start working with the governor. And, you know, they were great. They were great. She worked with some senators, and she worked hard on that. And that was a huge accomplishment because although our photos, there were redactions in the photos, but okay, so for example, they would black out their body, but you could still see the bed coverings, the walls, the floor, the ceiling. So, and you know that blacked out image there is your child, you know, and you try not to look at it, but they're everywhere. It's hard not to. And some of the redactions got slipped up, and some of the victims' bodies actually got shown.
So I told you guys before that I had messaged Kara when this, and that was really one of the last times, really. Yeah, this is the last time, was January 20th, 2025, that I spoke to Kara. I mean, 2026, when those photos came out. Because I told her. She, let's see, where's it at? So I messaged her at 2:12 p.m. and I said, 2,790 new photos just released from the Idaho State Police. There is lots of blood, so please be careful online today. And she responded asking if they were redacted or not. And I said, there's a lot of blood. As far as I can tell, the bodies are redacted. At that point, I had not seen the fact that there was one of Xana's photos that were not redacted. So then, let's see. At 4:57, because somebody emailed me and told me about it. I didn't notice it when I was going through the photos. On January 20th at 4:57 p.m., I said, there's a photo that shows Xana's side of her head and her arm. They must have missed it. I didn't notice it. It was sent to me, so please be careful. And then that's when she tells me that she's sending the information over to Jeff so that Jeff can contact the Idaho State Police. But I told Kara, I was like, hey, this is happening and it shouldn't be like that. And then while we were reviewing the photographs, they ended up removing the entire 1/20/26 posting of the photos, but they never put them back, which I never quite understood why they didn't like go in and fix the redactions and then put the photos back. Because there was only like, what, maybe two? Because there was also another spot to where like you can see some of her hair. And if they were trying to follow the rules and they needed to cover up the hair too. But there was also like redactions on the hair and the blood that was on the floor on the side of the bed where Ethan was, where they redacted that in some parts, but then they didn't redact it in other parts. If it's just hair that's not connected to a body, then it shouldn't be redacted. But we know that the hair that they showed of Xana's was her like laying in the body bag. So in my opinion, it needed to be redacted. But there was just a lot going on. And I really am surprised they never put those back with the redactions. It would have taken them 30 seconds to go in there and fix them. I don't know why they didn't.
It's hard not to. And some of the redactions got slipped up, and some of the victims' bodies actually got shown, and they were released, actual bodies. So Olivia worked hard on that. So we were thankful for that.
But see, what she's failing to say is that it was done on accident. What she's failing to say is that those pictures were removed and not put back. It was an accident for Xana's side of her face and her arm with the two markings you could see like in her elbow area through the gray sweater. that was done on accident. It wasn't supposed to be posted that way. That's why all the other photos had the big black boxes, Kristi, because those things were already supposed to be redacted. Again, this rule that they keep trying to get kudos and pats on the back for didn't change anything. What happened by accident. And what was also crazy is that one of the things that Olivia said was that the reason why she wanted to get the law passed so bad is because Bill Thompson told her he couldn't promise that the photos couldn't be leaked. Like somebody wouldn't hack into the system and get them and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, he can't promise that. And no bill is going to stop a piece of shit asshole from going in there and hacking them and putting them on the internet. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with gun laws. Criminals don't care. So the whole thing is just odd. And I don't know if it's just like my distaste for the family in general or not. But when I see them constantly putting themselves in front of a camera, and then I actually look into what they're doing and it's accomplishing nothing, I have to question what your intentions are for even bothering. And what did we find? When we went through that entire bill, there's information in there that stops information from public defenders from being accessed via public records request. So you can't sit there and tell me that they did not know that those stipulations were in that bill and that that wasn't the real intention for them piggybacking onto it. I don't trust these people. I don't trust them at all.
Family, because unfortunately murder, hopefully things will get better, but there's probably always going to be murder.
No, let's hear a big round for Olivia for taking this on.
Yes.
Doing
See what I
it.
mean? Why do they have to have the applause and the standing ovations and the kudos? Why did WSU's chief send out a whole letter to everyone giving kudos to Tiango and that other guy for the 1129 situations that were never called in for a tip and didn't even hit the system until after the FBI gave Moscow Kohberger's name? Why is Othram getting to go on all of these CrimeCon panels and getting all of these new contracts and getting all these kudos when they got fired from their position in this entire case because they failed? Why are all of the failures getting all the kudos in this situation? Isn't that freaking crazy? But the people that are actually putting the work in are the ones getting chastised. What? This can't be real. This cannot be real. We have to be in some sort of twisted, elongated, extended end of season version of the Twilight Zone or some shit, because this is so stupid.
What a catalyst for change. And let me ask you this, Renee, your National Center for Victims.
I thought I was the moderator. Go for
I
it.
know, but I'm going to ask you anyway. The National Center for Victims.
Yes.
What is their position?
On these,
Yeah.
our position is that there is absolutely no reason the public needs to see death photos other than entertainment, and that is when we've crossed a line. And furthermore, we say it as a catch.
For entertainment? How many news sections have you been on, ma'am? How many documentaries have you been in? How many Netflix series, Hulu series, all these other series where people do true crime stuff and stuff gets shown? How many have you been a part of? I'm going to look it up and see. I bet you've got some under your belt. That's what I'm also sick and tired of. These people are sitting here talking like we only care about this stuff to be entertained, while they are the ones sitting on a CrimeCon stage in front of an audience. So they're sitting there talking shit about the reason why they're there to begin with. Every single one of those people are there to be entertained. They paid for tickets. You only pay for tickets to things that you want to be entertaining for you. For most people, this shit is a vacation. This is crazy. I don't understand how more people don't see the hypocrisy of this entire thing.
I was the moderator. Go for
I know, but I'm going to ask you anyway. The National Center for Victims.
Yes.
What is their position?
On these,
Yeah.
our position is that there is absolutely no reason the public needs to see death photos other than entertainment, and that is when we've crossed a line. And
Stupid.
furthermore, we say it as a catchphrase. It's not just a catchphrase. There's no timeline for trauma. There will never be a time that the public needs to see these photos that it will not impact families. And it does not matter that this happened 5 years ago for Kim Goldman's family. It does not matter that.
Okay, so just don't look at them. Don't look at them. We want to see the rooms. We want to see the spatter. We want to see the patterns. We want to see the knife sheath. We want to see the lack of footprints coming out of Xana's room. We want to see the evidence. Why does that bother you so much? Advocacy should be for truth. Yeah. So while yes, things should be redacted, to sit there and keep talking so much shit about people who are interested in facts and wanting to make puzzle pieces fit together, that's crazy and hypocritical as shit. Because look at where you're sitting. In your sparkly ass, weird ass blazer suit, you weirdo.
There will never be a time that the public needs to see these photos that it will not impact families. And it does not matter that this happened 5 years ago. For Kim Goldman's family, it does not matter that it was 20 years ago. It doesn't matter when it was. You will still be triggered when you have to see these if you are the family member.
Don't look.
And if you cannot escape it in the media, just imagine if every day of your life you had to go look at the news and see the worst day of your life replayed to you. That's when it's entertainment for other people. And so our position
as the people sitting on your panel camera hop every day, trying to look for who's going to want to talk to them and ask them questions and get their name out there on a schedule. Do these people not know who they're talking about or who they're sitting next? Like the lack of actual like education here is crazy.
Your life, you had to go look at the news and see the worst day of your life replayed to you. That's when it's entertainment for other people. And so our position is there's no reason to ever release the death scene photos, and we are against it.
Cover the bodies. We redact the bodies without there being big black Minecraft boxes everywhere. The programs are out there. I showed you guys what was sent to me, what I saw. The redaction process, the availability to make it to where the literal fine line outline of a body, even if moving, is the only thing that's blurred to where you can make out the shadows around it. It's 2026, babe. That shit exists. That exists. These black boxes and redacting the entire screen, that's bullshit. And the fact that she sits there and with this weird smug look on her face, she doesn't understand how hypocritical she is, or she just doesn't care. But most paid people don't.
If we were to have gone to trial, I see the reason for the images to need to be shown to the jury. You know, so in that case, or in that
would have been all over live TV too. I don't know if they would have. They probably would have turned the cameras off for that, which I would have totally understood and not have been mad about. If they would have turned the cameras off to show the pictures of the bodies themselves, because they would have showed the bodies at trial. They would have had to, and I wouldn't have complained. Some people probably would have. I don't think I would have. I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't have complained. As long as they kept the audio on, I wouldn't have complained. Now, if they would have turned the audio off and the video while that was happening, yeah, I'd be definitely bitching. But if it's audio, if it would have ended up being audio only just during that segment of time so that the entire world didn't see all of that, then I wouldn't have been mad about it.
aspect of things, you know, we agree that it, you know, that's evidence that is, you know, compelling to a jury to see. But he pled guilty. Why those photos were released at all, even redacted, I don't know. I don't know. Especially
Because that's what
they weren't going.
that's what we do. That you were
I
never
don't know
told
why.
that. You weren't told that.
Where people wanted him.
Oh, I know.
People wanted him bad.
Oh,
And people were doing FOIAs for him, and people were demanding that they be unredacted, and they wanted to see the bodies. And I couldn't believe the people that thought it was wrong that the photos that they weren't showing the bodies.
And I think that leads to the overarching issue of we can be here and we can all be here and be supporting victims and be wanting to get the stories out. And
That
that is
part.
advocacy, and that's amazing.
It's all the secrecy. Like at this point, if somehow we ended up actually getting the body photos, this would probably be the exception where I would want to look if they were available. I wouldn't put them on my channel, and I probably wouldn't even put them in the Google Drive because that shit's crazy. That's crazy. But I would definitely want to view them myself, especially since we have experts coming out here and claiming that there's signature wounds and shit, and the autopsies are telling us otherwise. I think just for the clarity of the hair in the hand and the wounds under the neck and the shoulder signature wounds that we have no proof of, that Turby's out here talking shit about, the fact that there's literal inconsistencies with the wounds being discussed by experts and documentation and legal documents that are coming out, yeah, I think this would probably be the exception. Am I mad that the bodies are not out there? No. I'm mad that the redactions are as bad as they are, but there's also a medium there that they are refusing to find. But if these ever were to come out, yeah, I'd probably look at them. We would definitely have a deep conversation about it, but it would definitely not be anything that would ever grace my screen. That's for sure.
And that's empowering. So when do we cross the line between empowering and exploiting?
No.
And I think the answer is
Chris Holland didn't answer me either, and Chief Dollinger never answered me either. Nope.
what I've come up with in my few short years of life is what's the point? What's the purpose to the public, and how does it do public good? So
because people are lying, stupid.
Crime scene photos, does that do any good to the public? And why do they?
See, it doesn't help when people so uneducated in what's actually happening in the case talk about the case, because then she's just speaking vaguely. She has no idea what the hell she's talking about or the reason why there's even a demand in this situation for what she's speaking of. If she actually paid attention, then she'd understand why. There's so many inconsistencies and lies, and we just want to see who's being honest and who's full of shit. The victims deserve that. Do they deserve to have their bodies all over the place for everybody to look at? And no, they don't. Okay, they don't. But they deserve their truth. This woman should have brushed up on some facts before she started talking about any of this, especially the ethics with these people. This is still crazy to me.
And I would argue that it's not even good. It actually is detrimental because you're creating another BK. You're going to create another. It's almost like it's like murder porn. So for some of them, it's a triggering event. They see this. Remember, this guy was
murder corn. Why are these people constantly? Oh my God, if I say this word, YouTube is going to demonetize this entire video. I'm going to type it. I already know how they work. Okay. And I'm going to not even spell it all the way right. So I can't trust anything. Is it spelled right? Okay. I don't understand why this is what they're constantly doing in this case. Because this is what they're doing. The girls were not gagged and bound or R-worded or assaulted or anything like that. And he's constantly coming out and making statements about how this was sexually motivated and that they were gagged and had these things that they were bound. And now he's using, oh, it's murder corn, and oh, it's a Hollywood. You need to stop Hollywoodizing everything. And oh, this isn't a movie. All these aren't characters. It's him. It is literally them. And then the fantasy of the bullshit with the love story with Jack and Kaylee, and now with Olivia and Steven Jr. It's them. It is these people. Oh, man.
Was in a criminology class where they literally would go through crime scenes and they would look at it. I was told exactly what this guy was looking at nauseum. I mean, he had a PhD. He was going into that program and just drenching himself in blood, guts, and all the things that went in it.
Yeah, Steve, because he would walk right into Professor Snyder's class and just carry the shit out of everything. That's what he was learning. These people are crazy. These people are freaking crazy.
Ad nauseum. I mean, he had a PhD. He was going into that program and just drenching himself in blood, guts, and all the things that went in it. He liked it. And there's going to be some people
that go to college for 10 plus years usually like the subject that they're studying, Steve. Like all of the professors, All of the officers that worked this case, all of the FBI agents, the lead prosecutor, they all went to the same courses, Steve. You're so weird, bro. You're so weird.
Who do like it. Most people would find it appalling, but those people that do like it, you're feeding them. You're creating tomorrow's problem.
He's so weird.
And what we're seeing, we're feeding into
He's
these
so
are
weird.
the new frontiers of true crime. And Andy, you're the expert in this. It's murderabilia and true crime tourism. And just to walk you through some of the things you're seeing on this stage, and I'm going to let Andy explain some of them. But in that bottom right corner, that's a picture. It's an altar to Eileen Wuornos in the Last Resort bar in Florida, where they're now selling tchotchke about Eileen Wuornos. And then, do you want to walk us?
Well, there's a lot of people that actually support that woman because of her story and for the reasons why she did what she did. I know I've read a lot of comments. I don't know everything about her, but this is the woman, I believe, that they did the monster movie, right, with Charlize Theron. I think that was her. I don't know the whole story. I just know that there's a lot of support for her because, like, she basically went after people that AR'd her and, like, assaulted her. Like, she kind of, like, revenge killed people is what I'm understanding. Yeah, see, and that's what I mean right there. Yet they're sitting at CrimeCon. Now, I don't agree with there being, like, Jeffrey Dahmer shirts that people walk around in as, like, merch shirts. I don't agree with the whole serial killer merch thing, all of that. Now, museums where stuff about crimes are actually portrayed factually and honestly, and it's not like a shrine to the murderer. Yes, there should be things where you can go in and you can read about things. And if there's memorabilia, however you want to say it, that could be put in like a museum in way of pieces that were found or pieces of whatever, stuff that actually matters. That's one thing. But then there's places that literally have shrines to the killers. And it's like, oh, here's his favorite sandwich. No, he liked his chocolate milk like this. No, this is a weird shit. Okay, I don't play any of that. There is no reason for anyone who has been a murderer or an R-worder or anything like that to be put on any sort of pedestal to the point to where you're buying a t-shirt with their freaking face on it. That's weird. That's weird. I don't like it. That's always like the part of a Hot Topic I didn't like very much, you know?
Through the rest of what these things are?
Yeah, let me put on my eagle eyes right here.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So let's start over. So the painting right there, that's a painting by a serial killer named Keith Jesperson. Anybody know who Keith Jesperson is? What's his nickname?
Who's
right,
that?
because in the serial killer industry, you're nothing without a nickname, right? You got to have a nickname.
Kohberger doesn't have a nickname.
I have some.
I mean, I know they're not saying he's a serial killer, but it's funny that they're talking about this while they're trying to also compare it to Kohberger, and he's just Kohberger. Like, I think the only nickname he has is like his inmate number out there. That's it.
Jesperson's artwork, that's probably one of the more demonic things that I've seen. There's also manufactured items. There's a company out of New Jersey that manufactures serial killer coloring books. And inside the book, it's here's your chance to be a serial killer, draw your favorite serial killer. And then the other one right there,
much for me.
probably the one that probably gets the most attention when I do a lot of these presentations is there's a Jeffrey Dahmer doll. And the way they market the doll, and it's going to be morbid, the way they market the doll, it says, open me up for a sure delight and see who I ate for dinner last night. And you unzip the doll and there's body parts.
That's fucking gross.
That's the Jeffrey Dahmer doll.
That's
there are
disgusting.
serial killer trading cards, just like baseball cards. There are serial killer snow globes. There are serial killer comic books on the market. And then some of the more personalized items. So when I first discovered the industry, I was blown away. I was shocked because I was of the opinion that you shouldn't be able to rob, rape, and murder and then turn around and make a buck off of it. It's really that simplistic. I do believe in free enterprise and capitalism.
But I promise you, no one related to Jeffrey Dahmer is getting a damn royalty off of his body part doll. These coloring books that are being created on, in Canva and self-published, the money is not going to the killer. It's going to the creator of the person who made it. So there's that. That doesn't make any of this better. That's just freaking weird as hell. But he at least needs to be honest about what's happening here.
But I thought this is where you got to draw the line. And I became immersed in this industry, and I came up with this cool, catchy name called murderabilia.
Dexter's not real.
To describe it. So for the most part, these are items that are actually produced by serial killers, mass murderers, and school shooters that are then sold on the open market. There are 7 dealers throughout the country that operate businesses that sell items that they get from high-profile serial killers. So, for example, there's a Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and he would correspond with his own personalized stationery, which is skull bones. There's actual fingernail clippings that you see right there from a serial killer named Roy Norris. Norris and his partner Lawrence Bittaker was so sadistic, they actually recorded their victims' screams so they can rehear them over and over.
The Texas Slave Ranch that I told you guys about from Kerr County, what was played in court was a recording of that cannibalistic murdering family recording the people that they were torturing. And that was played in court. And those people still didn't get fully charged, and stuff ended up getting dropped because they gave up their thousands and thousands of acres of land to buy off the place to not get in trouble. That was played in court. I'm still working on getting those files.
Over again. On the fingernails, it says it just flabbergasts me that someone would want to collect my fingernails. I've got no objections as long as they don't end up in the hands of a Haitian voodoo priest. So I wrote Norris.
Crazy.
That I was a damn Haitian voodoo priest. And I got your fingernails, dude.
So you're writing a serial killer just to mess with them? Doesn't that kind of like make you a freaking weirdo too? Like, why are you writing him and saying anything? That's freaking weird.
So I wrote Norris that I was a damn Haitian voodoo priest. And I got your fingernails, dude. I hadn't seen them for sale since. There's a piece of, they take clothing and they cut pieces. That's a piece of clothing from John Wayne Gacy. And if you ever seen the show, I'm sure a lot of you have seen Mindhunter. Kind of the quote breakout serial killer star was Ed Kempner. Ed Kempner wrote me a letter about his objections to items being sold bearing their name.
When I've got a super important question for you, because we've got to clear the air. You said something to me.
Why are we talking about this here? Like, this is not happening in the Kohberger case. This isn't happening here. He's not selling his clothes or his fingernails. Like, why are we talking about this? I'm very confused why this is part of this. I mean, I know that it's supposed to be like an ethics thing, but this is just strange. It's just odd as hell.
We think. Son of Sam laws. We all think we're protected from because of son of Sam laws, and these folks can't make $1 off of selling their fingernails and shirts. You want to correct that?
Yeah. So everybody here's probably heard of Son of Sam laws that was enacted because there were rumors that David Berkowitz was getting a book deal and movie rights, and so they crafted this law that basically said you can't profit from selling your rights for books and movie deals. And most people are still unaware that a little-known court, known as the United States Supreme Court, overturned the Son of Sam law, 1991, in a famous case called Simon & Schuster versus Henry Hill. Anybody know who Henry Hill is? What movie? Goodfellas. Character. Simon & Schuster offered Hill $250,000 for the rights to their story. New York sued under the Son of Sam statute, went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, who ruled in favor of Simon & Schuster. Most courts frown on any language that restricts free speech. So what I started doing was crafting what's called notoriety for profit laws, basically stating, you know, paint, scratch, sniff, doodle all you want. You just don't make money off it. So Son of Sam laws basically are a figment of everyone's imagination.
Important, really crucial to know for you all that serial killers are making money off of these crimes.
So we have work to do.
Now, when it comes to the Son of Sam law situation, they have been sitting here, the Goncalveses have been sitting here trying to pretend like Kohberger's going to write a book. And they seem to be like mixing up the fact that Ramsland wrote a book and talked to BTK and taking that situation and trying to turn it into something that they think that Bryan's going to do. But there's been no talks of there being a book. He hasn't spoken whatsoever. They're like making it up. They literally are making it up. When they were talking at CrimeCon, you guys probably noticed this. When they were talking at CrimeCon, it went from talking about Ramsland and BTK and then something about $40,000 in commissary from writing a book and getting money from writing a book. And then it turned into, and we can't have any of that money, talking about Kohberger. They switched from BTK to Kohberger in like 2.7 seconds and mixed it all together. Just because Catherine Ramsland got a hold of BTK and they did something together, blah, 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 whatever, does not mean in any way, shape, fashion, nor form that Kohberger is going to do the exact same thing. That's really crazy. And see, that's another thing too. Is he ever going to make a comment about Mabbitt's little souvenir shoe cover freaking statement? That's a law enforcement agent saying something like that. I mean, I know she's just a coroner or whatever, but she's still part of like the authority that covers the crime scenes. And they're not going to say anything about that. Like, that was gross. I don't care. And I know that when you work in a stressful situation like that, that a lot of times people will like revert to humor to like make it easier and less stressful. But saying something about, oh, you want my shoe covers as a souvenir when you just walk through a quadruple homicide scene is disrespectful and gross. Okay. People taking up for that comment are wild.
We have work to do.
Let me give you an example right here. So I monitor these sites, and here is someone created an Idaho murder mystery puzzle on the Idaho 4 where you can put all the puzzle pieces together into the crime scenes and into where the murders took place. You can actually buy this right now.
I'm about to see if it's
on
real.
Etsy, E-T-S-Y, or whatever you want to call it right here.
Etsy.
But that
It's
shows
frickin'
you
Etsy.
the marketing and manufacturing that goes on for.
Okay, well, I typed in Idaho student murders puzzle and nothing literally shows up. So let me type in Etsy. Oh my God. They must have worked to take it down. So let me show you what it's doing. It said Etsy. Etsy. That's funny. All right, so it shows up right here. Idaho Murder Mystery Puzzle Etsy from January 2nd, 2025. It says, learn about the heinous crimes where 4 college students were murdered in cold blood. Piece together this mystery with the clues that police have gathered. Do you agree the police blank, blank, blank? Okay, ready? I'm going to click on it, and it tells me, oh, it's going to show up. Okay, a second ago, it showed me that I didn't have access to this page for some reason. So this is a puzzle. It's $25. Looks like they make puzzles for all of the crimes. So it's basically like a thought board that they then probably use like Printful to then create a puzzle with, because I have the option to create a puzzle on my Printful board, on my Printful thing. Definitely not my type of thing to do. Definitely not my cup of tea. That's for shizzle. Definitely not.
Serial killers. And that.
But why did you buy it, sir? Like, it's one thing to like know that this is a thing and like print the page out to then show the example, but you spent $25 buying the thing that you're sitting there bitching about. You sound like my parents when I was back in high school, and my mom would drive me all the way to San Antonio, buy me everything black and baggy and gothic-y at Hot Topic, and then turn around the next day and talk shit to me about how I was dressed. That's what you're reminding me of right now. Why'd you buy it? You gave them a sale on their page. Why'd you buy it? Like, that's weird, bro. Why'd you do that?
That's what's happening in this country right now. So I continue to religiously monitor these sites.
I have a feeling he put the puzzle together. Because, like, why did you buy it? That's weird.
And I'll keep you apprised if we do see anything, because I'm of the opinion, and I'm sure you'll agree with you, this is just the beginning of the merchandising and marketing of Bryan Kohberger.
Let's talk about how far we've gone in marketing.
But also, actually, notice that there wasn't really anything about Bryan Kohberger on that. Let me go back to it. It had like what? Like one thing of it. It wasn't a Bryan Kohberger puzzle. No, it has one picture. Okay, it has one picture of him at the very top, which is like a suspect board, and it's his WSU little tiny picture of him in like the blue shirt, and then there's one photo of him at the bottom in orange. The rest of it is about the timeline, and it has multiple pictures of the victims on it. It has the car. This is not the marketing of Kohberger. Kohberger's name is in the title, Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Did he do it with a question mark? But his picture's only on here. This is not technically at all the marketing of Bryan Kohberger. Like, I get his point. I also find it very distasteful, but you bought it and you're technically like over exaggerating what it is. And this is why I can't take you serious, sir. I just can't.
Because I'm of the opinion, I'm sure you'll agree with you, this is just the beginning of the merchandising and marketing of Bryan Kohberger.
Let's talk about how far we've gone in merchandising and marketing. And Andy, I know you've got something to share too on your phone. Now in Vegas for a limited time, happens to be this weekend that CrimeCon's here, and it's not CrimeCon. We have serial killer speakeasies.
They did that because CrimeCon is a form of entertainment. So people that also give crime entertainment are going to follow CrimeCon along because they know exactly what the audience is. You know, those people that you're speaking in front of right now. Are you even consciously aware, ma'am? I'm really super curious if she's some sort of robot, because how can you be that oblivious? Wild.
And I highlighted some things that I wanted for everybody to notice. You can go to this and you can get a themed cocktail for one of 4 serial killers. And they will walk you through the story. You can also have an immersive serial killer experience where you get to see Ted Bundy's car and see the women brutalized in a bathroom full of blood. So that's how far we've gone with this. That's how big true crime has become. I've got a question for all 3 of you.
As you're sitting at CrimeCon, you hypocritical hippo. Oh my God, she's driving me nuts. Oh my God.
That's what I was gonna say, Andy, what do we do? Because we need to get ahead of the game here before he starts making more money than he's already got from his fans.
You know, I've seen this explode, and particularly over the last couple of years. And like Renee said, there's stuff that I've been watchdogging this industry for 25 years. I've never seen I've never seen serial killer dinner theaters. There's an exhibition going around the country right now, a serial killer exhibition. And this was just posted today. And again, you're really pissing me off, and I don't like. So there's a true crime and dine. I'm not going to mention who it is. I'm not going to give him any attention right here.
You're doing it.
But it's basically Saturday nights beginning June 13th. Real serial killers, predator vans, fact or fiction. And here's what really got my gall. Anyone who goes to the true crime dine, you will actually get a live call from a serial killer. And you can ask that serial killer questions. Tell me, do you think that's
creepy?
That's something we should be having?
No, that's weird as hell.
But you're
I'm
also
going to
still a
find out who
hypocrite.
this damn serial killer is.
It's not real,
I'm going to
stupid.
put an end to that.
See how he sits there like he's a big dog? Go sit your 70-something ass down. Okay, shut up. You ain't going to do nothing, for one. For two, it's not going to be a real serial killer, you moron. Don't you know, like, the whole gimmick? You're sitting here acting like this is real. This is just as ridiculous. Do you guys, okay, I don't know this piece of shit's name. I don't know his name. But there's this dude on all of social media. I think it's Jax or some weird shit like that. He's got tattoos all over his face. And he basically picked up where that Wade Wilson guy and his shit and all the groupies that went after him, the guy with all the tattoos on his face, he basically picked up when that guy got real popular. And he sits there and he has like videos of himself like with like stuff that looks like dead bodies like being chopped up in a wood chipper, okay? And then he'll say stuff like they think it's just for a movie, not realizing it's real bodies. And he acts like he's a real psychopath and a real serial killer and all this other crazy shit. And the women that are in there flaunting all over this dude, saying all like none of y'all have ever been a victim, and it shows. Like y'all are sick in them comments. These ladies are freaking sick in these comments. And there's been a few people that have come out and been like, this is gross. This is disgusting. He sits there and talks about like having these girls tied up in the back of a room because she didn't wear the right dress on the date or some crazy shit like that. And the girls are like flaunting over this piece of shit dude. And it's just the most disgusting thing. And that kind of stuff gets popular. That kind of stuff. This dude has millions of followers. It is disgusting. It is disgusting. So it definitely shows there's a market for it because people have done it and they have flourished and they have filled their pockets on the freaking oversized ovaries of these psycho ass women in their freaking comments. So yeah, unfortunately, there are people that find this entertaining and get their little rocks off to this shit. I'm not one of them. I find it disgusting and disturbing. But this is what it is. This is humans. For some reason, this is what it is. He can sit here and act surprised all he wants to. Did you skip history class, sir? Do you not know anything about the Roman days? The Colosseum, how people would pay to watch people fight to the death, how it's always been a form of entertainment to watch people literally fight until they are dead, to watch them actually take the life of someone, and then you stood up and you cheered for it. That's how we as humans used to behave. I think we still do it. We just have a different way of doing it. We've gotten worse. Humans have gotten worse. The human race has gotten worse. It's one thing to call out bullshit and be desensitized to their shit on this stage because we've been dealing with them. But the entirety of the human race has been desensitized. And I honestly don't think we're going to be able to fall back. I feel like it's too late. I really do feel like it's too late.
You think that's something we should be having? I'm going to find out who this damn serial killer is.
Well, it's not real.
I'm going to put an end to that because my best guess.
So he just talks big to get applause.
I would be shocked if prison officials are actually aware of this.
So he thinks it's real. Dude, it's a gimmick. And it's going to be some fake paid actor giving these people a call. I can't believe how serious you're taking this right now. I mean, like, I get the principle of it, but like the fact that you're like, oh my God, the jails don't know this is real. Oh my God, I can't believe they don't understand this is going on. It's not a real serial killer. Come on now.
So I'm going to make them aware of it.
So I do have a question, Stephen, Kristi, on this. We're seeing these things come, and a lot of people are just in the mindset that this is neutral. They're not doing anything to you all. They're going to these things. What do you want those people to know about how this does feel for the families?
They're going to these things. Did you see the look of disgust that she just gave the audience while talking about the audience? Watch her face.
They're not doing anything to you all. They're going to these things. What do you want those people to know about how this does feel for the families?
The people that you're talking about are right in front of you. Again, are you not aware where you are? Like, what? This chick is wild.
It feels so, it just feels every aspect of it just feels wrong. That I couldn't believe it, the slide just before with Ted Bundy's car and whatnot, and I just think if they were to do that with something.
Oh, and I had to give them my credit card information to get this video, by the way. So it's like $6.99 a month to be a member on CrimeCon HQ. But if you sign up, you get 3 days before they charge your card. So I had to give them my name. It was all the stuff for the channel. It was the PO box for the channel. But I had to give them all of that information. And then I canceled it. I spent 3 days going through to see if there was anything important. I got a couple of videos recorded, and then I canceled it. But you cannot access this video without giving them your credit card information and signing up for a monthly subscription, by the way.
From how we would feel, you know. Again, it's one of those things that until that happens to you, you can't really comment on, you can't really speak of it. But I could just speak on like how I think we would feel, and it's just kind of like the people that support him, you know.
We support facts.
Like it's like,
read a document. Maybe you would too.
why would you want to be part of something so evil that took place?
Why are you constantly lying? We want to be part of the facts. We want to be part of the truth. We want to read the documents. We want to figure shit out. We're trying to get justice, actual justice and truth for your child, Kristi. If it was Jack Decor that was killed, would you be more like, hoorah for everyone who's actually out here reading shit and trying to get down to the truth? Really, like, I'm not even like joking. I think if this was Jack Decor, she would be like demanding still for there to be truth, for people to find out what really happened. But because it's Kaylee, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. Weirdo.
Something so horrific for these kids. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of suffering that happened that night. And
there
it was
was
the last moment of their lives. And to glorify that.
We're not glorifying shit.
It just it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I know
Nothing's
now
being
that I
glorified
know
here.
about this, because I didn't know this stuff was going on. My life was pretty normal before this happened to us. That I will go out of my way to explain what a CrimeCon is and make sure that people understand that it isn't that. It's not. It's the opposite of that. We point this out so people understand that we are not that. We are here to help people and help the world become a better place. And we expose this kind of stuff. So I think that's one step that we can do and be all on the same page.
He's not even honest. He doesn't even know what he's saying. Talking to talk.
I was in charge of the clock, and we're getting close here, but I want to look at solutions. And I really do think that consumers hold.
That's what I said.
To the treasure.
And
vault
notice how
that
she just
is-
said that again. Consumers. Why do you keep using that freaking term? What a weirdo. What a freaking actual weirdo. But no, that's what I said too. Because if Kaylee was really into true crime the way that they say, she would be right there along with everyone else looking through the documents and asking questions. Would she not be? That's what I mean. They have done nothing but talk shit about the main interest that they claim their daughter had. And now their new daughter-in-law and what she did for a living. And all they've done is talk massive shit about it while everyone involved in true crime has filled their pockets with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do the math. I'm not exaggerating. This is wild. This is crazy. They could be out here talking their faces off till they were blue. And if they weren't lying and they weren't being hypocritical, I wouldn't have shit to say. But this is crazy. This is absolutely psycho. Psycho.
I was in charge of the clock, and we're getting close here, but I want to look at solutions. And I really do think that consumers hold the key to the treasure vault that is true crime. And each person in this room, by the way, has the power to force all of those podcasters that you met this week to push TV stations. The power of the dollar, man, it's incredible. And you all have the power and the privilege, really, to start to force some change in how we discuss.
The power of the dollar? What does that have to do with what you're talking about?
The power of the dollar, man, it's incredible. And you all have the power and the privilege really to start to force some change in how we discuss true crime. And one of the things that's always bothered me in how we discuss true crime is what we put the focus on. So I know this is Andy's favorite game. It's also my favorite game. We're going to have a little CrimeCon true crime pop quiz to close us out.
See, how is this not entertainment for her? How is this right here not the embodiment of everything that she's bitching about? These people have no peripherals. Are they lost? I don't understand this.
I want to know, and it's really hard for me to see with these stage lights, but can anybody shout out who these folks are?
Literally
on the screen? Do you recognize them? And I cheated a little bit for you in advance. I gave you the names.
How is this a quiz? You've
Who was
given them
she?
the answers.
Holy crap. I'm so proud of you guys. Shocked me. I think Andy's probably blown away.
Right, like puzzles are bad, but CrimeCon quizzes are okay. Oh, I hate it here. This place is so effed.
First time anyone's ever. Good for you.
CrimeCon, you're amazing.
I'm so tired of this place, bro.
Oh, look
oh
at-
my God. Ugh.
I'm about to make this a competition. This side of the room is nailing it.
Oh, let's make it even more of a game. The hypocritical.
All right, well, you guys
this is
play
so
our
hypocritical.
thunder. We're done here because the next
No,
slide
I
was this.
expect, yeah, I expect to say, but most of the general public has no clue.
But
But
so-
they will.
Let's talk about this. And this is why we do this. We're so predator focused. We're so perpetrator focused in true crime. And it's hard to get away from that. It's really hard. But we've got to start to turn that. So I want to hear from you all. What's your advice on that? How do we do that?
We have, from the beginning of this, we said, the victims' names should really be the ones that are remembered. And we mentioned this actually and said, for the most part, can you name a Ted Bundy?
That's what they just did. She turned them into a game piece after talking about the puzzle pieces. Isn't that insane? There's no way they're this not self-aware. So crazy, bro.
That are remembered.
I'm glad that I didn't actually watch all of this. I did the recording part and listened to it in the background and then went through and did this stuff, but there was no reason for me to go in and there was no commercials or anything like that for me to edit out. So I didn't have to actually sit there and listen to this. Some of this shit is freaking crazy. Holy hell.
And we mentioned this actually and said, for the most part, can you name a Ted Bundy victim?
That part.
But you know exactly who Ted Bundy is. You know his name well.
That part.
Richard Ramirez, you know his name well. BTK, we know those names. Our perpetrator, you know his names. And
we know the victims' names too. And people that followed BTK and Ted Bundy and all those other cases, like we've done here, know the victims' names too. But any random person who's only getting mainstream media information are only going to know the perpetrators' names. They're preaching to the wrong choir. They're just so ridiculous they don't even realize it.
I hope that Kaylee's name, Xana's name, Maddie's name, and Ethan's name is never forgotten. And we have pushed that. We have pushed that since the very beginning because we were like, you know what? In 2 years, they're going to be like, oh.
Is that how she said it? I'm going to go find it.
One of the BK victims, absolutely hate saying his name, but just for that purpose. And we were like, no way, nobody's ever going to forget these kids. Nobody's ever going to forget these kids. They're going to forget him. More than that in the sentencing and said, you're done. You're gone.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, your moment of fame is over, and
you
with
doing?
our
I like
organization,
your
we're
channel.
hunting killers now. We're going to use
Thank
IGG.
you.
And we're going to
follow-
use people
you
like
cover
you
the
guys,
Kohberger
and we're
case.
gonna take that money.
Yes, you cover it from an
We're going to go find
educated,
Yes.
well-known.
Hey, so
She literally said his name right here with no qualms, bro. Just, you covered the Kohberger case. Watch. Oh my God. I can't stand this hypocritical hippo, bro. I really just can't.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, how you doing?
I like your channel.
Thank
I like
you.
your view.
you cover the Kohberger case. That's
Yes.
our
You cover it
that's our
from an
daughter.
educated.
Not you covered my daughter's case. You covered the Kohberger case. So notice this is the same day, okay? So she could go up to any random person when she doesn't realize there's a camera and say his name just fine without the fake tears and the, oh my God, I just don't want to say it. She can say it just fine. Does this not tell you how much of a freaking act this shit is? I am so glad. Whoever put that in here. I am so glad you said something. I cannot believe. This was literally like off the panel, walking across, and now they're talking to Scott. The first thing she says, you covered the Kohberger case, not you covered my daughter's case. Notice Kaylee being the important part of that statement comes second. What?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Hey,
How you doing?
I like your channel.
Thank
I like
you.
your view.
You cover the Kohberger case. That's
Yes.
our
You cover it
that's our
from an
daughter.
educated,
Yes.
well-known.
Hey, sometimes I get mad at you though.
Say that one more. Say that one more time into the mic.
Shut up. Ugh. See my point? Like, I'm so sick of them. They can't sit here and say that we're the bad guys when all we're doing is taking what they are saying and how they are acting and asking what the fuck. Because that's really the only question I got at this point, bro. Whoever said that, thank you so much for pointing that out, because we literally went over that interview the day that it dropped, which is unusual because normally, well, if it's someone I like. Actually, I can't even say that because there's been plenty of people that I don't like that put information out, and I still don't like instantly cover it because it's their FOIA information. It's their stuff. I like to give it like 48, 72 hours for it to do its own organic thing on YouTube before I start talking about it, because it then takes away from the original. So I just always try to give them that benefit. Not with this interview, not with Scott. Oh, hell no. We talked about it that day because big old Scott can kiss my ass, that's for sure. But no, she just straight up Kohberger case. She literally walked off the stage. This was after this panel. No problems, no qualms saying his name. Only when she knows there's a camera does she pretend like it's going to make her gag. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
With our organization, we're hunting killers now. We're going to use IGG, and we're going to use people like you guys, and we're going to take that money, and we're going to go find these guys.
We're going to take your money, is what he meant.
They're going to have people coming after them now.
We are.
Yeah, I would have expected to be like, oh, you covered my daughter's case. Instead, Kohberger is the first thing she said. That's crazy.
NCBC's tried to help you all in true crime consumption. We've made it, we like to think, easy. These are our 8 simple rules of being a good, ethical.
Again, with the consumption, consumer consumption. Weird verbiage here, bro.
NCBC's tried to help you all in true crime consumption. We've made it, we like to think, easy. These are our 8 simple rules of being a good.
The same kind of mom that sat on her freaking ass at her own house after getting calls from her own relatives that her daughter was dead, instead of going down to Moscow to where her daughter was. That kind of mother. She's proving more and more that everything that we have read about this not being a close-knit situation is true. You'll see. If you haven't already listened to a bunch of interviews, if people are newer in here and haven't been watching from the very beginning, a lot of people come in here for the first time and they are completely floored at the way that I am acting about these two. But then they go back and they listen to stuff themselves, and then after a few episodes, they get it. Watch when we go back. Watching all the Way Back Wednesday episodes where we go live over all of their old interviews. Watch how many times she mentions that Kaylee said something and she just blows it off completely. Kaylee was never in the forefront for her. I don't think any of her kids are, honestly. Because how do we see the way that things are for Kaylee, know the way that the things were for Sam, and then think that just like magically Olivia and Stephen Jr. and Olivia and Autumn and the other one didn't have the same thing? Like, I find Kristi to be a very self-centered, conceited human being. And Steve's just a little beta, regardless of what he tries to pretend.
Good, ethical, true crime fanatic, and we have them online if you'd like to see them. But the more important thing is I want to hear from all three of you. These are our rules from each of you. What would your number one rule be? Either that we missed, and we might have missed one, but
investigate as you're sitting next to the two people that constantly bitch and complain and literally demand for people not to read documents. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
what would your number one rule be if you wanted everybody in the room to hear it on ethical true crime? Or what's your favorite out of that list?
My favorite is number 4, period. And I've always said, look, here's reality. We're all fascinated by true crime. That's
Again, as you're sitting next to a couple of people that have done nothing but try to speak over their daughter's voice by not being honest, who have disrespected what Kaylee wanted with her life by continuing on this sadistic fantasy of her and Jack being together and still calling him her boyfriend. These people are so clueless. It is so disgusting that they are not even aware of what they're doing.
human nature. I get it. And that's why it's such a booming genre right now. But I also recognize that there has to be a semblance of fairness and balance. And if you're going to basically exalt the perpetrator and give them the infamy and immortality, then victims also deserve to be treated with the same type of attitude that the media outlets currently have. And that's why I said it's time for us to have a seat at the table and not sit back. We are not collateral damage.
Shut up.
Of the media industry. And we need to start recognizing, and that's why I love what Steve and Kristi are doing, with the foundation and with trying to make things better. So that's where I come from.
Yeah, no, that's it. Anyways, going to piggyback off that number 4 with Andy, but I'm going to go with number 6. Respect boundaries. To be a true crime fanatic.
Expect your daughter's boundary of not wanting to be with Jack Jakor. You first, Kristi.
Just be mindful, with that respect boundaries, just being mindful of there is, no such thing as a victimless true crime. So even if the victims have passed away, there still are victims left. I hate to refer to ourselves as victims. I hate that.
Because you're not. Kaylee is.
We always have told the kids, growing up, quit being a victim. Put your shoes on and let's go. You got a boo-boo. You're fine. Don't be a victim. Quit crying. So it's just so hard to
I'm sure you did.
Think of ourselves as victims. But we are. And respect boundaries, and know when you're in a forum and you're talking that it's very likely that their aunt or their uncle of the deceased can be in that forum. And people tell us all the time, then stay off, don't get on, don't be in this forum. And we're not in forums. I'm not in any forums.
Yeah, you are. You can lie somewhere else. And no, that's true. If you don't want to see it, don't go on there. The internet is a very, 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 very unlimited place. You do not have to jump onto Reddit, onto the Idaho 4 case forums, and then cry about what you read. You don't have to join Facebook groups and moderate everything the way that we know that they've been doing since the beginning, because that's also in some old 2022 interviews. Okay. You don't need to jump into those every single day and then come out into the news and on the camera and cry about what you're reading. Stay the frick off of the shit. If you're seeing it, it's because you're choosing to. If you're entertaining it and crying and whining about it, it's because you're choosing to still go. And you're also not telling people to shut the hell up that are telling you things. Because the majority of the crap that these people come out here and talk about, they're not, under their own admission, getting it from information that's actually official. They're having people tell them a bunch of bullshit third-party information, and then they're coming out and they're parroting it without doing their own research, without seeing and verifying if what the person is telling them is true. They do it constantly. Constantly.
That's for sure. But I mean, I find it on my own page even, you know, and sometimes when you just open things up, it's there in your face. So, I mean, I definitely don't go hunting it down by any means, but it's there.
Yeah, you do.
It's there, you know, he's a big.
Yeah, you do. And you have people that go out and get it for you and then bring it back to you. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
YouTube watcher, not true crime of any means, but you know, that's what he watches. He watches his news on YouTube and everything. His opal hunting and his gold mining, and it's all on YouTube. And you know, stuff will pop up on there, and I'll be like, "Oh, what's that? Nice, that's great." You know, so I think respect boundaries.
I was worried
you can fix those
filters.
filters.
Mine easily is number 8. Turn your interest into an impact. And if this group, we got some really smart people.
So take your little foundation and put your money where your mouth is. Because there's hair that needs to be tested, and unknown DNA that needs to be tested, and at least 9 people that were swabbed and never entered into the system to do comparisons for. Stop talking about what you can, what you want people to believe you can do for their cases, and walk the walk, Steve. Do you know how? Are you still limping? Need some crutches? This is stupid. I can't believe they are sitting here creating a foundation to do the very things that they are yelling and cussing people out about when it comes to what needs to be done in this case. How more ironically, disgustingly, in everyone's faces are they going to keep playing before the majority of people finally realize what the hell is happening here? They're effing with you. They are effing with you. They've been doing it for a really, really, really long time.
That already knew exactly where we're going. If you can turn your interest into an impact, then every time when people ask why you come here, it's really easy. And you can tell them the names and the families that you've helped. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's the most beautiful thing you can do out of tragedy that's happened to somebody, is turn it into a positive thing and say, I'm interested and I can make an impact. I funded this program, and these are the families that had no answers. And so the so-called, all these people are trying to help them. We were actually able to do it. I don't want to say and take any credit away from the cases that are out there and the law enforcement. There's
the labs doing the work.
There's so much crime, and there's only so much money, and there's almost so much time. So a lot of these crimes went cold before IGG was even invented. So we need to go back to those cases and, you know, get some lab work done. I literally talked to David from Othram, and he was so frustrated that
Othram did not come up with anything of value in this case. They promised a 72-hour turnaround time. 18 days later, they still had not produced anything of value. And that's when they were fired from their position of doing the IGG work, and the information was then turned over. I think that's what it was. The information was then turned over to the LA FBI office, the Los Angeles, California FBI office, for the IGG to be done. So again, you're kissing the ass of someone who legitimately did nothing in your daughter's case, just like the Chapins. Why is that? Why are they doing that? That's weird. That's really weird.
The order in which they want to use IGG, they want to wait till it's the last resort, and there's no reason for us to wait to the last resort. We can do it right off the bat, and it's going to be a cheaper option than if
in the long run.
Yeah.
And you took mine.
Okay, well, they're saying here, oh, well, we shouldn't have to wait. It can be done like straight off the bat, blah, blah, blah. Do y'all realize that Othram had the sample on the 21st? 22nd? That's a week. IGG got started in a week. And it still didn't have an answer from this little bitty private lab. And now you want people to give you money so that you can send other people's cases to places like Othram that failed in this case. And you're sitting here just propping them up and giving them kudos like they accomplished something here. This has got to be some sort of alternate reality. This is insane.
But it was going to be turn your interest into impact. And I do want everybody in this room to know that they have started this phenomenal foundation that is now on the screen. And that's one of the first ways you can turn your interest into impact. Scan their code, find out how you can get involved. I'll give you a little tip. We all run nonprofits. Yeah. We love money.
Oh, whoa. Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit. She just sure blunt about it, isn't she? Holy crap. Thank you for the 2, which he was. Yeah, test the hair. Y'all have this foundation, and that's the whole goal. So why don't you do it? Why don't you actually do it? Thanks for the 5, Kawanda. I'm sorry. Whoever is behind this crime must have some really bad shit on them because what the hell? What the F? This is becoming a humiliation ritual. Very suspicious. I mean, I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. But they definitely have no qualms, like just coming out here and being the worst of the worst of the worst, sir. Like, it's actually crazy. I just don't understand how people closer to them aren't seeing this. Other family members of the other victims aren't like, what is happening here? Like, maybe they are seeing it and they just don't want no part of it because they don't want to deal with it. I know Kara was really concerned about the Goncalves' behavior. We talked about it quite a bit.
But it was going to be turn your interest into impact. And I do want everybody in this room to know that they have started this phenomenal foundation that is now on the screen. And that's one of the first ways you can turn your interest into impact. Scan their code, find out how you can get involved. I'll give you a little tip. We all run nonprofits. We love money. So getting involved sometimes is donating, and they're really doing some amazing work. There was one other rule I did want to call out for everybody in this room, and that is number 7. And that's really for you all. Don't fall victim to true crime. And what that means in our field, we have this thing called vicarious trauma. You can only take in so much bad stuff that humans can do to each other before it really starts to affect you and impact you. And I'll tell y'all a story. I love true crime too. I was really into it before I got into this job. When I was about 22.
You got into the job because you liked to listen to stories of true crime because you were trying to understand. So now you're turning what you literally are using as the stepping stone for how you got into your career, and now you're trying to turn it into like a bad thing while you're sitting at the CrimeCon stage. Let me also show y'all something real quick while this woman is being the worst hypocrite she possibly ever could be. Look at these prices. Starts off at $350. If all you did was walk into the building and take a lap around and not do anything else, it would still cost you $350. Look at these prices. Volunteers also have to pay to get in. You don't even get into Comic-Con for free if you are volunteering to work the event for free. You don't get to just be there. You got to pay to be there, and then you get to work for free. That's how that works. Yeah. Never mind. Never mind this little situation that's about to happen. But we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys here.
See how much this shit cost. Badges. So you have to pay extra money. Staterooms. $780 per person. And so you have to, oh my freaking God. So you have to buy, oh my God. The most expensive ones are already sold out. I'm clipping this CrimeCon shit and putting it out there by itself. I've been wanting to look at this with you guys so you can see how much I hate it. Like why I hate it. This is such a joke. The most expensive rooms are already sold out. Then it's $1,300 per person for this one. $935 per person for ocean view. And then an interior stateroom where you get no walls, I mean, no windows at all, is $780 per person. And these are based on double occupancy. So not only do you have to pay for the room, and paying that much for the room doesn't get you access to the CrimeCon events. You still have to get a badge. And you can either pay an extra $300 for this badge, or you can pay another $650 for that one. On top of $780 at the minimum per person for this shit-ass cruise. Are you serious? You can't hate this enough, bro. You can't. I don't give a shit. That's crazy. Yeah, on top of that, people have to also pay for planes and travel to get there and back and forth. Yeah. Oh, I know. That's why she's going. How are we the bad guys while they're sitting at CrimeCon?
23, my mom came to my house and I had piles of laundry everywhere. And she said, I think you're in a depression. I said, no, I'm not in a depression. And I was the girl that when I called the cable company, I said, I can only buy the package that has ID Discovery because I have to have ID Discovery because I have to watch my murder shows every day. And my mom said, no, I think we need to back off of the murder shows. And what was happening to me was I was processing through vicarious trauma, which I now have a name for. So my message for you all is be very aware of yourselves and be very aware as you're taking.
Oh, trust me, I'm aware.
Yourselves. Make sure you're doing okay. It's really hard to work in this stuff and to listen to this stuff all the time. And it's okay if you need to take a break from it. So don't fall victim to this world that we're creating.
As you're sitting there on stage.
We have managed to save some time for questions. We have 1 minute, so I'm guessing it'll be 1 or 2 questions. And we've got somebody already. He is hot on the mic and ready to go. So, sir, it's yours.
Hi, my question is for Stephen, Kristi. I think many of us in this room share your original frustration at the plea deal, but I was wondering and hoping that you guys have found some peace and thankfulness that you didn't have to go through the trial, the social media chaos that would have come from that crazy trial, and all the appeals.
It would have been less than what's happening now because we would have had some stuff coming out at trial that was evidence-based. This is all as ridiculous as it is now because we didn't have a trial. Who are you and why are you so lost?
You didn't have
you don't make any sense. That is literally the opposite of the truth.
to go through the trial, the social media chaos that would have come from that crazy trial, and all the appeals, years and years of appeals. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that comment.
So for the appeals part, we are very thankful for that. And
for what? Because he still has options, but go off in things that you already know better than, but you continue to lie about. Okay.
It's done. It's over.
It's not.
And we are thankful. We were fully prepared to go to that trial, though. We were. And we do feel that we would have the public would have got more answers with the trial instead of just being.
You don't have answers either. You seem to forget that that's y'all's main complaint every time y'all go on a podcast. That you don't have answers either. I guess they forget when they're on this stage with all those shiny lights in their face.
And we do feel that we would have the public would have got more answers with the trial instead of just being able to dissect everything themselves. But we have found peace, and it was a burden. It was a burden that was taken off of our shoulders. So for that, we are thankful.
So my take on that is,
see what I mean? How are you thankful for there not being a trial when we are now a year past the plea agreement and you still don't have answers to stuff? And the stuff that you have been given, you're not even bothering to read it. They're just talking to talk. They're just talking to talk.
I was built to battle. I was ready for that war. And I think when we sanitize, when we have a killer of 4 beautiful people in their beds, it lets that little kid that's thinking about doing it, it doesn't let him see how ugly it turns out at the end. And that's one thing I think we're missing in our justice system, is where the scary part comes in, the very end, where we just put them in front of the camera and we shoot them. You know, fortunately, we don't do that anymore. And I think that's why we have some of these school shootings and some of these really bad things.
Swift,
Thank you.
That stuff's going to happen anyway, Steve. There's already death penalties and all kinds of laws out there, and people still do stupid shit. So, the trial would have been better for the truth to come out because it would have happened in real time. And we already know from what Thompson stood up and said that they weren't going to be able to produce anything. But the evidence would have come out. It would have been shown to the public. They would have had no choice. And we would have been past all of this. Everything that we're reading right now, we would have heard at the trial. So at this point, we would have been a year past the trial almost. And we would have already had all the answers that we're just now starting to read as of this week. So no, none of this did any good to anything. It screwed everything up all the way around. All the way around.
And I apologize. I see you all. I promise. I talk too much today. We all talk too much. But we are going to be here. I am getting the 0 and the flashing 0. I want to thank you all for coming, for staying with us in CrimeCon, for listening, and for creating a safe space. And I want to thank you, 3 amazing, brave individuals, for all the work you're doing.
Thank you all so much.
CrimeCon, you've made.
As you go drunkenly talk to Scott from Crime Talk right after the fact. And say Kohberger's name just fine without freaking out. I can't believe the hypocrisy. That is so crazy. Like, that's like more than proof that when she is on that panel, that she is faking those emotions when it comes to saying Kohberger's name. Because that's how she literally introduces the case, the Kohberger case. That came out real naturally. Kaylee always comes second for them. That's so crazy. It's actually crazy. Oh my God. These people are actually crackadoodle. Crackadoodle dandies. Okay, let's see. Tomorrow I want to go over chapter 13 in Broken Plea, since we are almost done with it, and I'm trying to get it all completed so that the day after his interview on Custody Queens, we can start reviewing chapter 1 of Cyray's book. That's the plan with that. So we're going to do chapter 13 tomorrow. And then I have it where tomorrow night we're going to go live and we're going to go through the entire vehicle identification report that came out that we skimmed through the other day, because it points out everything that's not correct with the vehicles. It points out everything with Ridge Road. Like, we went through some of it. Some of you were here, and it's very, very detailed. So we're going to read that entire thing. I have a plan to go through and like read all of them, because there's a lot of very detailed information in there, and we really need to like soak it in. Like that's the whole point of reading the documents, is to understand what evidence they actually had and what they didn't, and what the experts were actually going to say, because that was taken from everyone, including the victims. They don't get to have their stories told and talked about in detail. So we're going to read them. So tomorrow we're going to do the vehicle report. Sunday is when I'm going to do my UFO disclosure stuff on my second channel. They just released a 4th release. And my buddy said that they're almost about to release the 5th release. And we're like only on page 2 of the 1st release. So we've got to really kick it up a little bit, because we are like behind when it comes to the UFO stuff. But then tomorrow, Sunday night, I want to go live and we're going to read through Brent Turvey's entire report. And no, he has not responded back to me, which isn't shocking. But I'm like, what they don't understand is that I'm giving them an opportunity now to like actually like say something. When I continue what I'm doing here, they're probably going to regret not answering me. And I'm not trying to like sound boastful. Like I'm not stopping. Like I'm going to be writing articles and word for word debunking things. That includes stuff from Brent Turvey. And considering he's such a professional, you'd think that he would want to clear up the mistakes that he made. I guess not. Because when this debunking thing starts, this book debunking thing starts, Turvey is going to be drug along right with Whitcomb, because things that they said in these interviews are going to be mentioned in the debunking with timestamps and directions on where to find these things. So they can either like man up, or they're just going to be exposed even further and even deeper detail. And it seems like that's what they want. Well, we can do that. That's fine. But you're not going to come out here and lie as an expert. So freaking serious, already so disturbing, already full of misconceptions, already full of lies, and think that you're not going to get called out. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, you are. Okay. So we're going to read his entire report on Sunday. And that's what I have so far. Yeah, that's what I have so far. I am also going to be starting to get some stuff put on those other 2 channels that I was talking about. The clip channel, where I'm going to start putting some of my older videos out, and then having you guys go in and debunk all of the old things that we were told in the comments, so that we can collectively see everything that has changed throughout time. And then the 12-hour long video from the 11-12 cameras, I got all of that downloaded today. I really want to put that on the deep dive fact archive for the case. I want that to be like the first video. So I'm going to see if it'll let me put one that long with it being a brand new channel. I don't know if it will, because it is like 12 hours. It's from 12:55 to, what is it, 1:02 p.m. Something like that. You know what I realized today too, when I was going in and clipping all those pieces together? So y'all know how, and we might have talked about this before, but I feel like we didn't. But you know how the last 5 minutes of that first section, the 225 to the 230, was also the very first section of the next section where the 227 scream is. And we know that they're lying to us about there being audio, because if there was legitimately no audio, then we wouldn't have 5 minutes of sound in that next section from 225 forward, right? So you know how the noon one, when the cops show up, is also muted? It's muted. But when we requested 11 a.m. to 12:05, the last 5 minutes of that section has sound. But if you open up the noon to 102 that Gray Hughes originally got, we FOIA'd our own version. It really does not have any sound. Like his version doesn't have any sound, but it's the same concept. The last 5 minutes of the 11 to the 12:05, it has sound right there when the cops pull up. But the 12 to 102 section that they released, there's no sound. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They're just lying all the way around. The fact that Chief Dollinger can't even email me back even a little bit is proof that he's just a fucking coward. Like, I have a feeling that one of these days I'm going to just walk into the Moscow Police Department and I'm not even going to have to say who I am. They're going to know. One of these days that's going to happen. Like, I plan on going in there one of these days. Like I said, my son's best friend lives in Washington. So by the time the boys are 18, like, we're going to have to figure out a way to get them together. So we'll probably go that way. That'll be a fun time. Unbelievable. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Thank you for rejoining Nothing Half-Assed. You've been here for a super, super long time. And if you guys haven't checked out her channel, she's really funny whenever she talks about stuff over there. And she obviously is here paying attention like we do. So if y'all haven't checked her out, y'all should go check her out. Well, the thing is that that's probably true to an extent, because Ann Taylor did mention how audio and video were like not together and how do you piece together and all these things. But there's also like 3 different versions of the 1112 camera besides the like original labeling of it, just on the inventory report that was released for Moscow Police. I noticed 2 of them when we were going through it on Moscow Monday last week or earlier this week. But then someone else emailed me and said, hey, on the court document here, it shows that this item is actually 1112 King Road. But if you look at the inventory report, that item number is just listed as like redacted audio/video, which I don't know, since it's 1112 King written out already in the inventory report, why they have that piece redacted, but it is labeled, like you can put the 2 together that is the same thing. So we requested one version, but I also, in my emails and in all of my retorts to this entire thing, I've told them exactly there's like 8 different versions just from the Moscow Police Department records alone. If you read just the Moscow Police Department records, because Andrew Fox, who put them all together, and like there's different instances where Mallory did stuff and Blaker did something. There's like at least 8 or 9 just in the Moscow Police Department records. That's not counting whatever was used for the grand jury, whatever the freaking FBI did. Like, there's versions of this shit everywhere. Versions of it everywhere. So the only thing I can do at this point is like request the other specific item numbers, but I'm only going to request it for the 1255 to 230 because we've got the rest of it. And I'm not going to pay $1,500 freaking dollars all over again for a bunch of bullshit. So the only thing I can really do is go in and say, okay, so in your inventory report, which I have attached, you have M22M, blah, 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 item number, blah, 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 audio video, item number, blah, 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 1112, item number, blah, 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 1112. We previously got this item number, which was the original one that I asked for. Now we want 1255 to 230 from these other 3 versions of this. And I'll just have to do one at a time. I'll just have to do one at a time, because just for that one that had literally no audio, that they're telling us nothing was redacted, it just legitimately had nothing there, they charged us like an extra $200 for it. But they didn't have to do anything. I mean, they ran that program for the license plates. That's all they did for that. There's nothing happening, nothing that they had to visually do anything for. So that's the only thing I can do at this point. Because I've sent emails. I have tried to get their attention. I've talked to Mia Batista about it. She's a complete fool. Complete fool. This is why I get pissed off at the Goncalveses, because they have that original freaking video. They had it that night. If they actually gave a shit about anything, they would release the version that they have, that they obtained themselves. You know why they won't? Because then they'd have to admit that they were wrong in saying that the 1112 footage was fake, because they went around trying to tell everybody that what I produced was fake. That's why they won't put their own copy out there, because it's going to match, minus the missing audio. I bet you anything they've got audio. They could have alleviated this a long time ago. They're choosing not to. That's their problem, not mine.
Their problem, not mine. Oh my God. All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off of her. I will probably go ahead and, oh, I missed this one from earlier before we started. Thank you for joining Good Vibes Only. Oh, you've been here for a whole year. I totally read that wrong. I'm sorry, I missed that. A year, that's a long ass time. It is a super long time. That was up before we got started. No wonder I missed it. Well, again, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. So thank you for all of my members and all of my viewers and all of my people that were in here to watch this and just try to figure out what the hell is going on. I can't believe the crazy stuff come out of these people's mouths. Oh my God, it's so freaking wild. Thank you again for the gifted memberships. You guys are awesome. And the super stickers and the super chats. And again, just coming in here and spending time trying to go over all this crazy stuff. Because eventually, hopefully one day we'll get down to some sort of something. Maybe. Wild as hell. Wild as hell. Wild. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, we're going to do Broken Plea in the morning at probably like 11:15, 11:45. I'll go ahead and get that one scheduled out tonight so that it's sitting there. Just remember, I can't do anything about the notifications. That's why I'm trying to do these other 2 channels so that when I have clips or something else just like fast and important, it can go on those and we can keep this to the live notifications, the deep dive lives, the things that we do like this, because the notifications aren't going out because I'm doing more than they want me to do apparently. And they've already said 3 to 24-hour period and they're going to suppress them after that. And I don't know how long I have to not be active before it like resets. And I'm not willing to just not be active when I've got stuff that we need to do. Like it's just not going to happen. So just, I don't know. I would say keep your notification bell set to all, but people are doing that and it's still not working. It's still not working. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can. It's not me. It's this stupid ass YouTube. No, I don't do Discord. It's too much drama. It's too much drama. I talked about it. I put a thingy-mablobber up. There's my email, Scully. I put a poll up and the majority of the channel said no. Discord's just full of drama. People's information gets hacked on there. I'd rather not have something vulnerable like that connected to the channel because I don't want anything or anybody with bad intentions to go in there and then something bad happen to people's information and then I'll feel bad and responsible because it's in my channel Discord. I just don't want to do any of that. But I don't know. There's maybe something I can figure out to where, I don't know. I've been thinking about some sort of like website maybe to get stuff off of Google Drive and put it on an actual like website portal. I just don't really know how to do all that stuff. Well, that's a freaking lie. I've done websites 1,000 times. I don't have the time or the patience to do any of that stuff. So it's something that I've been considering like hiring somebody to do. I don't know yet. I've got a lot on my mind about stuff that I need to do. But I do wish that there was more of a system where we could like discuss things better. But Discord's just not the ticket. Discord just ain't it. I don't like Discord. It's not good. It's just not good. I don't need another project. I know. I know. I'm already in my mind doing way too many things that I feel like I'm not going to be able to actually like, get it all done or keep it in sequence. But I feel like it's like the only way to get organized, I think. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off right now. I hope that you guys had a great night. Have a great weekend. I will see you guys in the morning to go over Broken Plea. Thank you again for coming in here and spending a lot of your time with me tonight. We've been live for almost 4 hours. I appreciate you guys. Get some sleep. I'll see you guys tomorrow. See y'all. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already. And please don't forget to make sure that the notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives.